Christ, what is
What's up, guys? Welcome back.
We're Splice and Splatter, the official film podcast of High Garden Entertainment in Santa Fe, New Mexico. We're classic horror.
It's modern gore. It's second time saying that.
Jesus
so,
Christ.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, y'all. This is our first time back in the studio since the live show, and apparently I've forgotten how to do this since then.
Live show. Thank you.
Live Crow.
So much. Live Crow.
Crow much.
Thank you.
You thought you were done.
We're
not
really
done.
This happened in front of a live audience, too.
Sure did. I got so many groans. I thrive on
it was
your
great.
groans.
It was great. Yeah, thank you all for buying tickets. It was a full crowd. There were familiar faces. There were faces that I think knew our faces, but we didn't know theirs. And then there were faces that had never seen our faces or heard our voices before.
Yeah.
But it was really cool. We basically, I think right before we went out, I literally thought I was going to pass out.
I saw you sway in a little bit.
I did. I actually, I remember I told you getting ready.
Mm-hmm.
I, almost passed out. And then it was, right before, because then you were nervous, too. And I'm like, well, if you're nervous, I'm nervous. You're good at this. This is my first time speaking in front of a crowd like that ever in my life. So
it's
we got through it. Actually, once we started blabbing,
it got a lot easier.
Yeah. So you guys know the crow facts now that Siena had shared. You also had to wait a little bit, so sorry. We had a lot of things to edit.
We're doing so much right now.
We're doing a lot of stuff. You can see our centerpiece if you're watching on YouTube. We have the Elvira Autumnal Gin sitting in between us. We did an unboxing. And if you're listening to this in September,
it's available.
It's available. So as above, so below. The official Elvira Autumnal Gin. You guys have seen the behind the screams. So we just did an unboxing for that, and it's sitting here with us today. We were both deserve a fucking cocktail after all the fucking things we've done.
Just thinking, we're recording this on a Friday. Tonight, breaking open that bottle,
I'm going to Ice Nine Kills tonight, guys. So you guys have all heard me talk about that. I'm finally going to see him live for the first time.
I'm so excited. I can't wait to see the stories.
I'm gonna have blood splatter on my face. I'm very excited.
Better.
I'm very
excited. Better.
But yeah, we have so many good things. We have merch that we just ordered from Morgan Crypt. So end of September, we're gonna be there.
If you listened to the live crow, I announced what one of them is at least.
What we're doing there.
Or one of the merch.
Oh, one of the merch things. Yeah, we're doing. You can announce it here for those that maybe haven't watched.
We're
listened yet.
I'm so proud of this.
It's really good.
Yeah, you really knocked it out of the ballpark with the font choice. It is a baby tee, which in red Bratz font says "Gore Whore."
I'm so excited to wear those. They come soon for us.
Yeah.
You guys might already get sneak peeks on social because I think we're getting it around the time that this episode comes out.
Well, and we said neither of us were ever allowed to play with Bratz as a kid, so now we get to be them.
We get to be the Bratz dolls, and I'm very excited.
We
have to have
a
Bratz doll outfit at Morgan Crypt. So come out. Tickets are on sale. It's morgancryptabq.com, I believe. I don't know. Again,
correct.
Google's a thing.
Yes.
But we're doing not only a panel. We're doing a panel on Saturday. We'll put times up on our social, but we're doing a panel talking about the podcast, and then the next day on Sunday we are doing a live show. We're gonna leave that a little bit elusive for now.
Keep it a surprise.
So we're doing that. God, we got so many fucking things. We're also playing Pet Cemetery.
We're playing Pet Cemetery
October 4th.
Yes.
And I think we're gonna work with hopefully the Santa Fe Animal Shelter to do pop up. So details on that.
Pop
up.
Yeah.
And then pop up.
God damn it.
There it is.
Yep.
And then
got there eventually.
What's the other one we're doing?
We are on Devil's Night.
I'm so excited.
October 30th, screening the original Halloween with a live show.
Yeah. Costume contest.
Costume
I'm gonna go hard,
contest.
guys.
Yeah. I went hard for the crow. Al's gonna go hard for Halloween.
I kind of just want to go full
Halloween.
Michael.
Halloween.
That will be my I want to wear the mask, so just don't have to look at anyone. That's going to be mine because Siena went hard for the crow, so I feel like it's my turn. So lots of good stuff. That'll be at the Jean Cocteau Cinema, so jeancocteaucinema.com for tickets for that.
Yeah. We might be able to have them live by the time this comes out.
I hope so. Yeah. Those bad boys are booked, so I'm really excited. We're doing a lot of cool stuff. So again, thank you to all of you who have made all of these fun things start to happen.
And I would also say if you want to come to the Halloween show, probably buy tickets early because the crow was almost sold out.
Yeah.
Or sold out.
And I'm expecting the Halloween one to be
think so. Yeah.
Pretty sold out. I think that's all the things the fun things we have to talk about.
Yeah. The bits and bobs.
Yeah, the bits and bobs. we're trying to keep this condensed because we have
so
fucking
much
excited
to talk about.
I have been so me and Siena are wearing full fits.
Yes,
I just want to state that.
I feel like we need to take a moment for the fits. Yeah, so I'm a Veronica, obviously. I don't have her deep blue. We're going to talk about why that deep blue is like woven throughout all of her costumes.
Yeah.
But I do have the classic blue Veronica skirt, the like preppy jacket. Yeah. I've got my blue earrings from Feather Match, and the knee highs.
Yeah.
And Al.
Oh yeah, I went full ginger.
All out. Yeah.
I just love this movie, and I had everything. So she actually has boots that I want to buy from Demonia really bad. So stay tuned. Those are my birthday treats. I have my little suede skirt that's vintage from like the 90s probably. And then I got this like little, I don't know, like 90s, what do you call it? Like a mesh cardigan. Very witchy. Then I have my little Ren Fair necklace like she had. I said I was really upset that I didn't have a bird necklace to wear. Almost went to Michael's last night because I was like, I want to go hard. But I do have bird earrings. Yeah. So I feel like we're like, these are our best fits.
I agree.
Like together especially.
Yeah.
So.
And I truly feel like I feel like this is one of the episodes that this podcast has been waiting for. I do too. Like we were built for these films.
We've been sassy lately, so we were like, this is like the perfect. We can just be like a little bit bitchy today.
It really is.
Yeah, I'm excited for this one. You go first. I don't even know what to like.
First.
Should we start with like we've both seen Heathers?
Yes. And where does one even begin with the movie Heathers? It's such a like foundational text. I'm sure for both of us, to like the people we are today.
Oh, so I saw this back early college, maybe freshman year of college. So it was like later in the game. But I want to say that's probably the first time I watched it. And when I tell you the language in this film is a fundamental part of my daily dialogue. What's your damage? I say regularly without irony. Yes. And oh my God, I can't even remember any of them now. But
Fuck me gently with a chainsaw.
That one is a huge part of my dialogue, especially when I was like in my 20s in LA. I was like, I said that to fucking everybody. There's so many good lines in this.
I'm so glad to hear you say that because that is what I have the most notes about. And the thing that I got the most interested researching was like how the dialogue came to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't worry, we've got plenty on that.
It is this movie is actually in my DNA.
Me too.
Yeah.
So, my lead actress Gracie actually did like a little line homage improv to Heathers in my movie. There's a little bit where I can't remember what I'd originally written, but she said I've got a motor instead. I was like great pate, but I got a motor.
God, I'm trying to think of like the other ones, but I just rewatching it. It's been a while since I've rewatched it.
Me too, and I will talk about why. And I'd been very scared to revisit it because of that, because I was really worried that it wouldn't hold up.
Yeah.
It beyond held
up. It is the reason why I am the way I am.
I'm gonna come out swinging real hard for Heathers on this episode.
Yeah.
Like
I thought
in defense of Heathers.
Yeah. Is there things to not defend?
I mean, I think it's a controversial movie, right? For reasons we can understand.
Well,
however,
are kind of,
I can imagine. Yeah. I have very strong feelings about that.
Sure.
We'll get to why. Sure. But like, let me just come out and say it. I think that Daniel Waters, screenwriter of Heathers, is like the Shakespeare of our time.
Oh my God, yeah. I mean,
that is the level of creativity and like linguistic inventiveness that
like
he is bringing
Clueless
to the
too.
table.
I think Heathers and Clueless. Dare I say people just don't give Jawbreakers enough credit.
Agreed.
And we won't talk about it a lot, but it's something I want to note with Ginger Snaps is that language is so there in a way that I didn't remember, that it reminds me very much of Jawbreaker, which is very Clueless, which is very Heathers.
Yeah, the DNA, the line. Yeah. It's, you can really trace the lineage.
Yeah,
it's
so good.
Yeah.
Ginger Snaps, though, I had only actually seen, I think, one time, and it was like 2013-ish.
Whoa.
And so this was, I think, only my second time watching it. And when I tell you, this might be one of my new like favorite movies of all time.
Yes, same. I've never seen it before.
Did you know anything about it?
Yes, and it's one that I'd held off on because of two reasons. I was torn between feeling like this film is going to be really up my alley, and so I need to save it for like a special occasion.
Yeah, absolutely.
And or B, this is a film that would have been really up my alley had I seen it in high school, and I'm worried that it's going to be like a you watching Donnie Darko thing, and I'm not going to be able to appreciate it.
Yeah.
That was not the case.
Did you love it?
I'm obsessed.
I was like, when I rewatched it, I was like, Siena's gonna fucking lose their mind over this movie.
I did. I'm like angry at myself that 13-year-old Siena didn't watch this.
I'm upset that I didn't see it when I was younger too. I don't know if you all feel that way too, if you have or haven't seen it at a certain time. If you haven't, just fucking go watch it. You can watch it and appreciate it.
I think you can get back into that place very easily with this movie.
Yeah, it doesn't feel isolating in the sense of like, it's such a universal feeling in so many ways, but it doesn't hold to a specific, like, you have to be a teen to relate.
Right. I think much more so than, say, Donnie Darko. I think it is more like open to, like, there's so much, I think possibly in part because of the monster elements. Yeah. I think that creates a really interesting universally to some of it that like we can get to when we get to that.
I'm so glad you liked it, but
I'm obsessed.
I like can't stop thinking about it. I wanted to watch it again last night so bad.
Me too. I watched it and I immediately was like, oh, this is going to be one that I'm going to rewatch a lot. Yeah.
Oh man, I'm so happy. I'm so stoked that we put these together, and I think we could have paired it with like a werewolf movie, but I'm going to talk about why we shouldn't ever have done that.
I strongly agree, having seen it now.
So we'll talk about why, which some of you might know. But this was the most perfect.
It's perfect.
Pairing. Yeah.
As soon as the
isn't Carrie could have fucked too.
That's true. And also Carrie and Heathers also have a lot in common too. But I think that's like there's kind of like a trio there of what they're doing. But.
Absolutely.
Do you have a tidbit?
I was going to say it's like a really simple one, and we'll kind of get into more of the references, but Heathers was a reference,
I'm sure,
for the screenwriter Karen and the director John Fawcett. So they, and we'll talk about it, but they specifically didn't look at werewolf movies as inspiration. They looked at movies like Heathers. They looked at Cronenberg's The Fly, Dead Ringers.
I really want to cover Dead Ringers.
Yeah, I do too. I've never seen it, and I don't know that much about it. So but the little bit I peeked at. So
I think it'd be up your alley.
But I just thought that was so perfect that I didn't realize Ginger Snaps had and I try to like find quotes about like, what about Heathers was it? But it's just like, again, I think the dialogue had a lot
the dialogue
to do
felt very like this person is an admirer of the dialogue in Heathers.
So that's my little connector piece.
Love that.
That's my only tidbit.
Well, I, as a tidbit, because as I mentioned, I think the dialogue in this is Shakespearean level good.
Truly. Poetry.
I decided that I needed to do a dialogue-themed tidbit, and I decided to bring in, from our screenwriter, Daniel Waters, a dissection of the "fuck me gently with a chainsaw, do I look like Mother Teresa" line. Because I think it is maybe the, like, to throw it back to Drew Barrymore and Donnie Darko, most beautiful words in the English language.
Yeah, it's one of the, like, I remember my first time seeing it, I was like, and yoink. I said it, I mean, I saw it so many times. I say it a little less now, but I definitely still say that, like, at least once a month, I think. So
that makes sense. Yep.
I fucking love this. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
I know nothing about Heathers.
Here's a quote from Daniel Waters, our screenwriter, who we're going to talk so much about. I'm obsessed with this man. Tried to find out more about him as a person.
I was going to ask. Had
a hard time, but we'll get to it. Does come from an interesting family. Here's the quote. Quote, "One of my college friends used to say, 'fuck me gently with a crowbar,' but I realized crowbar sounded too masculine. Chainsaw was more feminine."
Oh my God.
"And apparently 'fuck me gently' was at one time a common expression in England. This is the evolution of nasty language. That's where my friend extrapolated 'fuck me gently' into 'fuck me gently with a crowbar.' And then I had to have him killed so I could take credit."
Oh my God, shut up. Do you know why, like, chainsaws were invented?
No.
Childbirth.
I'm sorry, fucking what?
They used to crack you open with a chainsaw. So it really
crack me open with a chainsaw. Do I look like Mother Teresa?
So it really has an extra, when, like you said, feminine. I wonder if they were going to go down that route.
Oh my God.
Because I love old medical techniques. I follow this like girl who has a book on it, and it's like really amazing. But chainsaws were invented to crack open like the pelvis in order to get children out during childbirth. So that's why it was invented. So if you're wondering why we have those, it's because we hate women. We truly hate them.
Honestly, moral of the story for both of these films is we hate women.
Yeah. So if anyone wanted context for that, it hits extra hard. So fuck me gently with a chainsaw. It's like they're already fucking doing it.
Because I was like, I agree, a chainsaw is somehow more feminine, but why?
Yeah. Well, there's your little.
There's why.
Gross.
God, I hate that.
Fact. Yeah.
Oh my God.
That's me putting it simply, but you should look. There's old like sketches and stuff. I gotta
disgusting.
Yeah, I gotta share I cannot remember the account. I wonder if anyone listening knows. But there's this woman that posts on Instagram, and then she has created this book, and it's talking about all these like like how do they crack kidney stones back in the day, and they used to just shove a fucking. Anyways,
oh my God,
like that's my special interest.
Off there. What the fuck?
Just shove a rod up, and they would literally hammer it. I know. I'm done with these cords from your feet.
Oh my God. Okay. We're going back to Heathers now, y'all.
Yeah, sorry. I feel like that adds some context to that though.
Yeah, which also, like, honestly,
for film stuff, I'm just like, this is how people get this. This is why people didn't
want
survive.
crack a pelvis? Here's how.
Yeah. Chainsaw. Anyways, moving on.
Wow. How do I bring us back to earth from this?
Sorry.
Okay.
Jump in.
So, back to Heathers. I hope that also kind of sets the tone for Daniel Waters as a personality.
Okay. It does.
Yeah.
It absolutely does.
He is
no relation
quite
to
a
John
character.
Waters.
No relation to John Waters, but okay. I feel like I need to just spoil this because I've like hinted to you at it at a couple of points now. You want to know who he is related to?
Yeah.
His brother is the director of Mean Girls.
Oh.
Daniel Waters' brother, who wrote Heathers, directed Mean Girls. And Daniel jokes about it being like, you have no idea what our Thanksgivings are like.
Bro.
Yeah. When I say there's a family tree going through these films.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, so
I feel like, that seems like it should be more widely known. Just because those are in conversation a lot. And same with Jawbreaker, too, with and that whole thing. So
and Daniel Waters is like, he's a very catty person. He's like not that catty towards...
I mean, if he has that phrase and that's where he took it from.
Yeah. But like he's not that catty towards Mean Girls, but like you can tell he's like, they're doing something different. It's
is he younger or older brother?
I'm not sure.
It gives younger brother energy.
It does give younger brother energy. Especially given that his film came out first.
Yeah. It gives younger. So
yeah.
I'm gonna say that.
Anyway, diving into Heathers. I am listing this as a film from 1988 instead of 89. There's a whole lot of discrepancy about this. If you go to IMDb, it actually lists 89. We're going to talk about why a little bit more in this case. But basically, 88 is when its actual theatrical premiere happened.
Got it.
The reason why there's discrepancy is because it did not premiere in the United States. It premiered in Italy. So it premiered in Italy in 88, did not make it to the United States until Sundance 89, where it showed alongside Sex, Lies, and Videotape. Interesting year. Okay. But because of that, I think a lot of people think of it as an 89 film, but I'm like, it's 88.
Yeah.
That's when it came into the world.
Yeah.
So we'll get more to that in the distribution section. But this is, I think I mentioned on the last episode, probably the movie we've covered that I've watched the most times. I had not watched this since my best friend committed suicide when I was 17. And which I don't say that to like bring the mood down. I say it because I went into this movie very nervous, being like, am I going to hate this movie that I love? And instead I watched it and I was like, it is so much funnier now.
Oh my God. Well, because you've had like time to like process.
Let me tell y'all. It is like just as a cathartic experience, as an act of satire.
Sure.
This film, like having had that experience now, just made it better to me.
Because it feels like it comes from this very real dark place.
It does. And we'll talk about it.
As someone who's been extremely depressed, we talk about our mental health on here. It's just like there is this inherent like, you gotta laugh through. You find like the dark humor, I feel like, in which like if you have depression, it's like the world might find it fucked up, but then like someone else who understands it relates to it, and it's like, no, I get this. I like this. I need this.
I need this.
Yeah.
And so like revisiting it now, I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna make a case in this. My film theory rant corner is why I think that's the case.
Okay.
But we'll get to that later. Yeah. Point being, this is one of my favorite movies.
Okay, good. I'm glad you had a good
I had
rewatch.
The best experience.
That's a scary thing to go into.
Yeah, and I'm sorry to like start us on a little bit of an off note there, but I also think it's context that I think is important to bring to the table again, because I'm gonna come out so hard in favor of this film and the way it deals with suicide.
Yeah.
So I feel like I need to give the background that like I'm not just talking out of my ass here. There's some real personal experience there. It's also one of Winona Ryder's favorite movies, which I love. I brought in a quote from her.
God, I love her.
There's so much info on this film because there's a great oral history, which is what this quote comes from. Cool. There's also multiple, because this is such a cult classic, it's been re-released with different special features at different points.
That's so cool. Okay.
There's one, I found it on archive.org. You can watch a half-hour featurette called Diet Coke Heads and, wait, what is it? Swatch Dogs and Diet Coke Heads. That's, I think, the order it's in. Yeah. And it's like the most early 2000s thing you will ever see because it's from the 2001 release. There's like little like iMovie transitions between everything. It's incredible.
God, we talked about like special features in the early 2000s.
Oh yeah, they had no idea what they were doing. It's incredible. So that's like to set the table. We have a lot of direct quotes from everybody in production because of that, and it's a lot of their favorite projects that they worked on. I think Winona has a really good take to start us off with. She said, "I love this movie to the point where I talk about it like I'm not even in it. If it's on TV, I watch it. I've probably seen it 50 times. Like I can do it by heart."
Shut up.
And like
that's rare.
That
you
tells
find someone
you
that watches their work
so much. Yeah. And like, spoiler alert, she turned 16 on the set of this movie.
I was gonna ask how old she is. Wow, that's younger than I thought.
I know.
I thought she did start young, and Hollywood treated her much older. Same with Drew Barrymore.
Big time. Yeah.
Everyone gaslit us to think they were older. Mm-hmm. So like, creeps.
Yeah, yes. Which is also like, I think
turned 16.
Turned 16 on the set of this film.
She's the only one that actually looks young. Everyone else, no offense, like the 80s, everyone looked 40.
So interesting because they're actually all playing almost their ages.
That makes sense, though.
Yeah, but it's like, it's
because
true.
Everybody
in the 80s looked 40.
Sorry. Like, it was a tough time. I was like,
you're
this
not
40-year-old
wrong.
doing? Like, put that next to Grease, and I'm like, Grease looks young.
Funny. I mean, yeah.
John Travolta looks young compared to some of these guys.
It's
the style, man.
Yeah, I think the big hair has a lot to do with it.
Oh, yeah.
A way.
I said Winona Ryder looked like Gail Weathers from Scream.
Oh, my
with her little, like,
God.
on the back, she looked like she's ready to be, like, reporting live.
You're so right. That's
but
so
they were
funny.
They were dressing older.
So,
baby.
Let me bring in some taglines at this point to start us off with. As you can imagine, this film has taglines that hit.
Yeah, it has to. I'd be disappointed.
I'm going to start with the least savory to get it out of the way first, because it's from the first blush of romance to the last squeeze of the trigger.
I don't like the word squeeze.
I don't like any of that.
Yeah, blush and squeeze are really like descriptors that I'm not a fan of.
Yeah. We have best friends, social trends, and occasional murder.
Cute.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good like t-shirt.
And simple but effective, a killer comedy.
Yeah. That's good. It really is like so bonkers.
Yeah.
So.
I also, one of the things that I saw on the Diet Coke Heads and Swatch Dogs feature, they brought in some of the European trailers for Heathers and like the struggle that people had trying to figure out how to market this movie.
Oh, man, I can imagine.
It is so like there's really no commercial you can cut for Heathers that conveys the tone of this film properly.
And it probably just makes it like not look bad, but either like you get it or you don't.
Yeah, exactly. It's
funny.
It's really something. But it also I need to inform you as well that in Europe, as they were cutting these trailers, that like a lot of them were trying to make it look like it was like a teenage sex comedy about like a lot of them started out with the scene of Veronica calling Kurt and Ram to be like, let's have a threesome. Yeah. So you can imagine how and like playing it serious too. So you can imagine what European audiences thought this film was.
Yeah.
However, it was also in Europe released under the title Lethal Attraction.
Horrible.
Yeah. So the screenwriter jokes that he calls it Fatal Weapon now.
I was going to say, Fatal Attraction. That's so funny. Mm-hmm. Lethal Attraction.
Yep. So it's in Mexico. It was released as Jóvenes Asesinos Atracción Letal, or Young Killers Lethal Attraction, which it was like, yeah, again, like nobody had any idea how to just call it Heathers.
Yeah.
That title works in any language.
It's just a name. Just leave it.
Yeah. And I found out, really excited to find this out, the title was always Heathers, and that was one of the first parts of the script that came to be. Here's a quote from Waters. He says, I wrote a short script in college about a girl who gets burned at the stake during a high school football game.
Oh my God.
You can see the themes developing here. And I had 3 supporting characters named Heather. People liked that element so much I jumped off from there.
Oh my God.
I really want to read that script.
Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. I had kind of girls like the Heathers in school, so I could have easily written a script about them burning up.
Incredible. So Daniel Waters wrote this script on spec. This was the first script he ever wrote to get made. By this point, he'd, I think, worked a little bit as a writer on the show Beyond Our Control, but again, this is his first feature screenplay to get produced. Yeah. He goes on to write Hudson Hawk, Vampire Academy, Sex and Death 101. He also gets a story by credit on the 90s Batman Returns.
Whoa.
But I think we all know that Heathers is what's going to be listed in his obituary. And I'm intentionally listing the writer first rather than the director for reasons I think are already becoming very apparent.
Yeah. It's really like his.
It is Daniel Waters' movie. And that is not to discount Michael Lehmann's work, because Michael Lehmann is fantastic. But before we get to this, I had a burning question rewatching this film that I'm sure you may have as well, which is, was this written by a gay man?
Right?
I don't know.
We don't know.
So here's what I have.
It had to have been.
Here's what I have. I watched many an interview with Daniel Waters, and the only way I can describe this man's, like, gesticulation is that he talks exactly the same way I do. Which, first of all, we all know what that means.
But also, like, there's no way. There's just no way. So I don't want to like call someone and be like, you are, but like, come on.
I'm starting out there before I bring in a quote. Because here's what I really think tells me this was written by...
Because it's good.
Somebody in our community.
Yeah.
Listen to this. So he was interviewed when the Heathers TV show was happening, the ill-fated 2017-18 horrible Heathers TV show. And he was talking about kind of the legacy of the film and how much of a cult hit it is. And he says, quote, when I have too much to drink, I'll go on the Heathers Tumblrs just to feel love. I've read so much fan fiction based on Heathers where everyone makes it their own. It's all endearing, and no one's trying to replace the movie. Like, JD is a lesbian. I like it. That is somebody in our community.
You're on Tumblr?
Yeah.
Gay.
I'm sorry. That is somebody in our community. I don't know where you stand.
Oh my God.
But you are in our umbrella.
You're somewhere, even if you don't know it.
Exactly. So I'm glad we can all be on the same page.
Here's the thing. It's just so good and iconic. I'm sorry. It just can't come from a straight man.
I'm sorry.
I'm not going to believe it.
I agree.
That's my canon.
I agree. So
that's so funny.
And that was literally, I typed in like Daniel Waters LGBTQ, Daniel Waters queer, Daniel Waters gay.
I feel like somebody tell me.
This is the interview that came up every time.
That's so funny.
Is him talking about JD being a lesbian and him enjoying reading that fan
That's
fiction.
So funny.
And I'm like,
JD is so lesbian coded, and I love it. I love him so much.
My partner pointed out that JD dresses exactly like Corky from Bound.
Like, oh my God, yeah.
100, like, copy paste.
Yeah, funny. I still gotta watch that, but I did a poster, so that's how I know.
You did, yeah, which is now hanging on my wall.
So funny.
Anyway, so
we're just going,
queer not confirmed, but we all know.
Yeah, we all know. We all agree, right, guys? Yeah.
Not to stereotype, but to stereotype.
Yeah. On this one occasion.
Okay. Directed by Michael Lehmann. This was his feature directorial debut following a 1985 short entitled Beaver Gets a Boner.
Jesus Christ.
So that's something. He goes on to
wild.
Yeah, it's I am so fascinated by this man's career. He goes on to work with Waters again on Hudson Hawk, which they both seemingly hate the experience of. Then goes on to what I would describe as kind of like a steady, if very under-the-radar career, directing mostly episodic TV. So he's worked on Nurse Jackie, The West Wing, Dexter, True Blood, Californication, Scream Queens, Jessica Jones, and every episode of the Netflix thriller spoof, The Woman in the House Across the Street from the Girl in the Window.
I loved that show.
So directed by the director of Heathers.
It was really funny.
I haven't seen it yet.
I'm a huge fan of what's her name?
Amy Adams? Was that Amy Adams? No.
Kristen Bell.
Kristen Bell. Oh
She's
my gosh.
She's from Michigan, and I've heard some stories about her.
Interesting. Okay,
Michigan's real small.
Heard. Yeah.
Not really. But that show is worth a watch.
And it kind of makes
put under in like a boring day.
sense to me that it would be the same.
Yeah. It's very
same
satirical.
family. Yeah.
It's good.
However, the thing that folks in our world, I think, might best know his work from, besides Heathers, is directing episode 10 of American Horror Story Murder House.
What happened in that episode?
I should have
just started watching Coven.
It
it's my like yearly watch of Coven. So
he also did episodes 8 and 10 of Asylum. So he's done 3 AHS. Yeah, 3 of the classic good AHS.
Nice.
So very much seems to be continuing to operate in this like bloody but funny space.
Yeah. I wonder if that was the Black Dahlia murder episode.
Ooh.
Where they really dive into her. Anyways,
it might be. Yeah. It might be. Which also, another special interest, the Black Dahlia murders. So, Winona Ryder as Veronica Sawyer. What hasn't she been in? She's obviously Lydia Dietz in Beetlejuice, Joyce in Stranger Things, Beth in Black Swan. She works again with Daniel Waters on Sex and Death 101. She's Donna in A Scanner Darkly, Susanna in Girl Interrupted, Jo in The 90s Little Women, Call in Alien Resurrection, and Mina Murray in Dracula.
She's an alien movie?
She's in an alien movie. What? I know. I didn't know that either.
Yeah.
I have not seen Alien Resurrection.
She went to space?
I do not believe it's one of the good aliens.
It's the best one. How dare you?
Travis says the best one. How dare you?
Ron Perlman is in it.
Ron Perlman.
Now that does kind of sell me.
And Winona Ryder. Sorry, that's a
wild combination for an alien movie. What?
It's so French.
That's
it's so French.
What is this?
News to us, huh? Damn.
Oh my god.
We're just the only ones that have not seen this.
Wildly confusing.
We'll cover it.
At one point. So, this is actually only her 5th screen role. Comes right after Beetlejuice, which is like basically the only thing she's known for at that point, but just before Mermaids and Edward Scissorhands. So that's where we're at in the Winona Ryder trajectory.
Before this was... How old was she in those? 13? Did she do this all in like a couple years span?
Yeah, I mean, I believe Mermaids and Edward Scissorhands are both
Mermaids,
90.
she looks young.
Yeah, so those
Edward
two...
Scissorhands, she looks a little...
Same year.
Whoa.
Mermaids and Edward Scissorhands.
Whoa.
Yeah. Or at least released the same year. But I would presume they shot around the same time, too.
Baby.
I know. So, Kristen Slater. Kristen Slater.
Oh, I didn't hear you say that.
Good God. Really talking about making JD a lesbian here. As Jason Dean, JD.
So hot.
He's Clarence in True Romance, Will in Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, Joe in my beloved Nymphomaniac Parts 1 and 2, Malloy in Interview with a Vampire, Mark in Pump Up the Volume, and DJ LaSalle on the TV series Ryan's Hope. And at this point in their careers, he had a significantly longer resume than Winona did.
Oh, interesting.
Shannon Doherty is Heather Duke. She is a soap princess. She's played multiple roles on Beverly Hills 90210.
That's what she's from.
111 episodes.
Jesus fucking Christ.
She's Prue on Charmed. She's in Mallrats. She's in Greg Araki's Nowhere. She was Jenny on Little House on the Prairie. Chris on Our House. She'd already had a prolific soap career by the time she gets here. And she is everybody else on set's least favorite person on set.
Because she's a diva.
Yeah. She's Heather Duke.
Yeah.
She is her character.
That's amazing.
It's kind of charming to hear about, but We have Lisa Falk as Heather McNamara. She's also Sandra in Say Anything, Patty in Less Than Zero, and reunites with Winona on Jim Jarmusch's Night on Earth.
Oh.
And Kim Walker as Heather Chandler. She co-stars alongside fellow Heather, Lisanne Falk. Fellow Heather, Lisanne Falk as Sheila in Say Anything. She's Tracy in Deadly Weapon and Sherry on the TV series The Outsiders. But horrifically, she died at just 32 in 2001 of a brain tumor.
Oh my God.
And she's the one who has the brain tumor for breakfast line. It's very awful.
Oh God.
It's really,
oh my God, that's
really
haunting.
Horrible. Yeah. So just putting that out there so that's all we say about that.
That gives me the chills.
It's really upsetting. Background. I mentioned that this is a spec script. I'm sure that is no surprise. This is not the sort of thing that a studio is going to commission.
Oh, yeah. Same with mine. Just spoiler alert.
Yeah, that's not surprising. Waters wrote this when he was, in very Tarantino fashion, working at a video store and dreaming big.
Oh.
And when I say dreaming big,
oh God,
he knew two things. He knew who he wanted to say fuck you to, which was John Hughes and his adult-filled high school movies.
Oh my God. Damn, I love John Hughes.
In more recent interviews, he's said things about I like John Hughes movies, just here are my problems with it. He wanted this to be very much it's anti that. Exactly. It's the anti John Hughes.
Yeah.
And he knew who he wanted to direct. And he wrote the script specifically with a director in mind, and it wasn't Michael Lehmann.
Yeah.
Do you want to take a guess?
Quentin Tarantino. No, I'm just kidding.
God, imagine.
It was even
bigger.
Bigger. Oh my God. Wait.
The biggest.
Steven Spielberg.
Arguably bigger. Yeah.
I literally can't
He
think of it.
wanted this to be a Stanley Kubrick film.
That actually makes sense because asshole.
Yes.
Yeah.
No.
I was like, yeah, Steven Spielberg.
I know.
Spielberg's too nice for this. And that same way John Hughes.
He had two very practical reasons for this that were not even really about him thinking Kubrick was the best person for the material. One was
Kubrick was Clockwork Orange,
yes.
right? I see that.
I do too.
Okay.
I do too.
Continue.
One reason was that he was well, Kubrick is this very prestigious genre director, and he likes to do one of each film, each film genre, but the definitive. And so he's done his definitive horror, his definitive sci-fi, his definitive, he hadn't made Eyes Wide Shut at this point.
Movie?
So what would his definitive Kubrickian teen movie be?
Oh my God.
Heathers.
I love that he was just in a video store Kubrick's gonna fucking love this shit.
Yeah. However, the other reason was that he wanted this to be a 3-hour and 20-minute movie. And he was the only director who's going to get away with that in Hollywood is Stanley Kubrick.
He wrote it specifically long because he was this is my in. I got to write a really long script.
No, he wrote it long and then was who could get away with this? Stanley Kubrick.
Yeah,
Not even who would be best for my material. Yeah. Who could convince Hollywood? Stanley Kubrick.
He's not wrong, though.
He's not wrong.
I actually think that could have
It's kind of
it would have been way more fucked up, which I love.
Oh, absolutely.
So.
But it's kind of a key to unlocking an understanding of
absolutely
the subtext of that.
Yeah, it's another piece to the puzzle there that I didn't know.
Absolutely. Even the opening cafeteria sequence, it's a very intentional Full Metal Jacket homage. It's the cafeteria is the barracks.
Stoned.
Amazing.
I was real stoned, real drunk the first time I saw that movie. I feel
honestly feels appropriate,
right?
Yeah, that feels the only honestly not my favorite Kubrick film. Feels the way to get through it.
So I don't remember that much,
but it was very much a case of what do I want to see, you know?
Sure.
He goes on to give a lot of really great advice to young screenwriters. I brought in a couple of quotes on that of here's how I went about writing this, and a lot of it is just dreaming big and trying to think about what I want to see.
Yeah,
absolutely. And so he said, quote, I see so many movies, and what I wanted to see was a high school film with Stanley Kubrick's satire from Dr. Strangelove and the narration from Terrence Malick's Badlands.
Funny. God, fucking 2 movies I have not seen. So damn.
I think
you talk about Badlands all the time.
Yeah, I think you would really love Badlands.
That's so funny.
It makes so much sense.
I have no opinion on that, but I trust you.
Well, and I had last seen this film before seeing either of those two, and now I'm
yeah,
it's all clicking for me now.
Yeah.
And he approaches writing in like a very charmingly disorganized way and says, quote, "I'm always the writer who sneaks up on the writing of a script. I'm always collecting notes. I call it collecting acorns for the winter," which again, I'm like, you're gay. Like, I'm sorry.
You collect acorns?
You collect acorns for the winter? Gay. He says, "I end up writing little bits and bits and then adding them all up. I do everything by hand, so by the time it gets to the computer, it's cleared a lot of customs." Which, like, I really like as a writing process.
Yeah, that's fun.
However, unsurprisingly, getting the script to Stanley Kubrick proves impossible.
Yeah. How old was he?
I believe, I've seen both 23 and 24 as the age when he started writing it. So he's young. Yeah. He's real young. Luckily, he meets Michael Lehman through a mutual friend. Lehman had graduated from USC in 85. Beaver Gets a Boner was his 85 thesis film.
Of course it was.
And he'd worked for Coppola's American Zoetrope for a little bit. And name-dropping that he'd worked for Coppola was a big part of how he won over Waters to be like, you may not be Kubrick, but at least you worked with Coppola.
Yeah, you kind of just gotta, I don't know, man. You gotta fake it. You gotta just do what you gotta do.
Well, and like clearly they had an incredibly successful creative collaboration. Lehman likes the script, although he describes it as like almost incoherent at this point. Because again, it's like 300 pages, you know? And so then Lehman comes on board along with producer Denise Di Novi. Who is producer Denise Di Novi? Yeah. Normally, I don't like to give producers a whole lot of airtime because I kind of think they get more than enough credit to begin with. They don't need my help.
Yeah. Or they take more of the credit.
Take more credit than they deserve, and they don't need my help. However, Denise really needs a second here. Because, okay, I think she had a lot to do with this film striking the tone that it strikes. Because she's the only lead producer listed on the project, which is unusual for a film this small. Usually kind of the smaller the project, the more people it takes to get on its feet. Because like everybody's doing it for zero money. You need more hands on board to each contribute a little bit. As you get into bigger and bigger budgets, it's easier for there to be like two main producers, but just one on a film this size, kind of weird. And it's her first time lead producing. She had 2 associate producer credits from 5 years before, but that's it. Wow. She goes on, though. Listen to these. She produces Edward Scissorhands, Batman Returns, Nightmare Before Christmas, Edward Drood. Edward Drood. That's a musical. What is going on with me today? Ed Wood. She does both the 90s and the Greta Gerwig versions of Little Women. Practical Magic, Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants, Crazy Stupid Love. Right now, she's listed as producer.
All my favorite things.
Yes. She's right now currently on set on Practical Magic 2.
Man.
In production now.
Good. I'm nervous.
I do too, but I'm a lot more confident with her as producer. She also returned to the Heathers world to executive produce Heathers the musical. What am I getting at? This is a woman who excels at 2 things: Burton-esque weirdness and feminine skewing comfort movies. And looking at the director, writer, and producer of Heathers and what they each go on to do, I had a really hard time not thinking that her touch is a huge part of why this is the film it is. Especially like why it feels so real to those of us who've experienced the horrors of being read as femme in high school. Like that is a reality that I think she's bringing a lot of authentic experience of to the table.
We'll talk a lot about my screenwriter of Ginger
imagine.
Snaps.
Seeing a female screenwriter, I was like, oh, yep, that's where it's coming from.
Yep. So I don't doubt that the true bones and heart of this is her, and especially with those projects.
Exactly, and
she's
incredible. Bitch is just churning out hits. And I watched a lot of interviews with her, and I brought in a couple of Denise quotes that I think really show this is like what you want a producer to be. Like she really put her heart and soul into getting this project forward. She understands it, and she like put her own personal everything on the line for it in a way that I really admire. So shout out to Denise. Normally we don't like producers. We like Denise.
Yeah, very cool.
So how does this project get the money? truly, a lot of people make the joke that this is a project that couldn't be made today. And Daniel Waters is like, well, it really couldn't be made then either. And we're gonna talk about why.
Yeah.
When a production company bites, it's our old friends at New World Pictures, which of course is the Corman-founded production company. However, they only agreed to finance the project on one condition. You see, Waters' original script has a very different ending. Do you know about the original ending of Heathers?
At one point I did.
Okay.
Does it blow up the school?
Yes.
Yeah.
But not just that. So there's like a couple of different variants I've heard, but basically Veronica sort of does like a Christ-like sacrifices herself.
Sure.
The school blows up, and then it ends on a surrealist prom in heaven sequence where the punch bowl is full of Heather Chandler's Drano and Martha Dunstock is singing. I know. Isn't that incredible?
I kind of...
Yes,
I kind of wish that was it.
I did. Well, and that's what
I feel like my brain sees
yeah,
that
like
happening.
I can really imagine what it would look like.
Fuck them kids.
Yeah,
they were all assholes.
They
Except
were.
for, what's her name in her wheelchair?
Martha Dunstock. Yeah. We're gonna talk more about Martha.
Okay, I love Martha.
Martha's incredible. So, and again, she's the one who in that version is singing on stage. She's like she's the performer in heaven. Is Martha Dunstock?
I want her just singing outside of the school at a memorial because they're all gone and Martha was just at home because she's bullied.
Fine. Yeah.
It pays to be bullied, you know?
Hold on to
Nerds
that.
Hold out.
Because we have one other alt ending that's Martha-centric.
Oh my God, I love that so much.
But that's like when you hear the JD line about, the only place that Heathers and Marthas can get along is in heaven, that's supposed to lead up to that being the ending.
Shut up.
That now that ending got taken out. I imagine that line stayed.
Yeah.
However, so this I think is also an interesting story to be talking about right on the heels of The Crow, because O'Barr had, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, also, I think it was New World Pictures who had approached him and he turned them down because they wanted to make it PG-13.
Right.
And thank God, because I don't think this film would have gotten made otherwise, but Daniel Waters does not take that approach and instead does agree to rewrite the ending. And I'm so left wondering now.
That was their problem?
That was their
everything else, and that was the problem.
I know. And I'm kind of left wondering, like, what would a version of this produced by the people who produced The Crow look like?
Yeah, absolutely.
But I also think as much as I would love to see that version, I do think it's quite likely that Heathers probably would not have gone on to the kind of longevity it has had it had that ending. I think that would have made it a lot harder for it to outlast Columbine, particularly.
Yeah.
So here's a quote from Lehman, the director, about that ending. He says, "We fought very hard to keep that in, but the head of New World Pictures, who'd given the go-ahead for the movie and was very much in support of it, looked at us and said, 'If you don't change the ending, we won't make the movie.' Why?" And then here's Lehman being an executive. "If the school goes up, essentially we're saying it's okay to blow up a school, it's okay to commit suicide, and if one teenager goes out and commits suicide after seeing the film, the blood is on our hands." Ugh. Which I'm like torn between, on the one hand, like that's not how art works.
Right.
And on the other hand, but people think it's how art works.
Yeah.
It's really tricky.
Yeah.
It's really tricky. And Lehman himself is still kind of partial to the original ending and says, quote, "I would have liked to see the original ending with its full irony out there, with a darker feel and a kind of perverse, odd sense of optimism," which I did have to include just for the perverse sense of optimism. I think that's a really interesting term.
Why I said like fuck them kids, because it is like it's already such a fucked up movie. It's like I almost want to go out just going like, you're horrified. Even if you're like rooting for everything or like whatever throughout the whole thing. I almost want to end on a note of like, in a good way, I want to be like, that's too far. Yeah. But in like a good, like a fucked up.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Especially because in a way, I can see how that almost could read more perversely hopeful than Veronica coming back and saying there's a new sheriff in town, because it kind of feels like she's just the new head that ruined Heather's place, right?
Yeah, it just feels like the cycle is going to continue.
Which is a very dark ending.
Yeah.
Which like I do think is very Daniel Waters being like, well, fuck you, executives.
Yeah, I'm going to do this then.
Yeah. So Waters also, here's the Martha ending that I love. And Waters brings this up in so many interviews that I'm like, he really...
We could tell that Martha, like, he wanted to do something with her because they show her a lot. And
she's a very significant character, even if she doesn't get a whole lot of screen time. So, Waters jokes about this ending where Veronica, as she does in the ending we get, comes up to Martha, asks her to hang out. Martha stabs Veronica in the stomach and says, "Fuck you, Heather," stands up out of her wheelchair, Dr. Strangelove style, and going, "I can walk, it's a miracle." You see Heather bleeding out, Veronica bleeding out, saying, "My name's not Heather." Cut to black.
Oh my God. That's so bonkers.
I'm like, each one of these is better than the last. I want all of these. I want a Clue-style version of Heather's where you get to choose your own adventure endings. Yeah.
Oh my God, that's amazing. That would have eaten.
I know. Like, again, Daniel Waters is a Shakespearean-level genius. Each of those endings is incredible.
That's really good.
So... I will also note here that there is a 1976 cult film called Massacre at Central High, which I have not seen, which has a plot that people have said is very similar to Heather's.
Okay.
According to Daniel Waters, he had not seen the movie at the time, but he had read a blurb about it in a book on cult movies and said it could have been, quote, rattling around somewhere in his subconscious. So probably is an interesting point of some comparison.
Yeah.
Just shouting that out because a lot of people talk about it on the internet in conversation.
Put a pin in that. I didn't know where to put it, but I do have a thing about the comparison of Ginger Snaps and Jennifer's body.
Oh,
and I have a really good quote from the screenwriter. I didn't know where to put it, but it's
amazing.
A cute kind of quote to that.
Oh,
and
I love
I'm probably
that.
going to end on it because I just thought it was really funny.
Amazing.
To kind of talk about that, like if
the way that things can like still be influences even if you haven't seen it.
Yeah.
What other influences went into the screenplay, you may ask? Well, Waters' younger sister's high school experience, for one. And a reading of a chapter of Simone de Beauvoir's The Second Sex, which I think is hilarious. It's a book of feminist philosophy.
Okay.
From like the 1950s France. Probably. That would be a very me thing to bring up on air. And also a very Tom Sawyerish belief that everybody wants to attend their own funeral.
Funny. Oh my God, yeah.
Which, like, yeah.
And
speaking of Tom Sawyer, Veronica Sawyer and Betty Finn.
Shut up. Shut up.
I know.
Oh my God.
I didn't notice either. It's Betty and Veronica plus Tom Sawyer and Huckleberry Finn.
We need a moment to digest that, all of us.
Right?
Let's have
I felt so stupid reading that.
I feel really dumb.
I noticed Betty and Veronica. I never noticed Finn and Sawyer.
That's good.
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
Speaking of names, JD's name works on a lot of levels, obviously. Obviously, you get James Dean.
Oh, yeah.
JD also stands for juvenile delinquent. It's also J.D. Salinger. And Salinger was supposed to play a much bigger role in the movie. Do you know about this? It was not supposed to be Moby Dick that they're reading. It was supposed to be Catcher in the Rye, which makes so much more sense. Couldn't get the rights to Catcher in the Rye. So and it was changed to Moby Dick since Melville is in the public domain.
Okay, J.D. Salinger would have made some more sense.
Although I honestly kind of think it's even funnier with Moby Dick because it makes so little sense. It has nothing to do with anything.
It's like the surreal world that we're living in. Like, okay.
That when all of these references to like the big white whale and like underlining Eskimo are coming up, it's like, what? Which is really... I think it's funnier than J.D. Salinger would have been. So, like, brilliant choice on their part. Westerberg High, named for Paul Westerberg from the band The Replacements, which Winona Ryder loved at the time.
Oh yeah, she has that iconic, like, paparazzi photo. I'm not sure.
Okay, but where exactly does Waters begin writing this screenplay?
Right.
I can tell you the exact line, because he remembers. Quote, "The actual first line I wrote was, 'You can't use that knife, it's filthy.' When Veronica and JD are going to stage Heather Duke's suicide, it all took off from that."
Oh my God. That's really cool to know the exact moment.
Right? And that line stayed, and it's such a perfect encapsulation of the tone of the whole movie.
Yeah.
And yet it's in a dream sequence. Kind of, right? Like, I think that part occurs. It's a little bit unclear to me at that point what's happening in the real world and what's happening in a dream at that point in the movie. It's shot the way the dream sequence is shot. But anyway, put a pin in that.
Yeah.
That's funny and all. But the real core of the satire here, and again, part of why it lands to me, is that Waters is actually really mad at the media, and that's a big part of why he writes this. Quote, "The way teenage suicide was presented in films and in the media as a news story incensed me. A teenager who had committed suicide would be elevated to this godlike level. The way the media talks about these issues makes it too real, and suddenly suicide becomes something to consider when you're feeling depressed. One of my favorite lines in the script is when the teacher says, whether to kill yourself is one of the most important decisions a teenager can make," which, yeah, one of my favorites too. There was a certain sanctity and solemnity at the time about teenage suicide that I wanted to satirize. The highlight of that being the father saying, "I love my dead gay son" at the funeral. Only now does the father realize the problems his son had been having. Suicide shouldn't be the way to get them noticed. And I think, just especially because I have torn films apart so hard on the podcast for not coming from like a true place.
Yeah.
I think it's really important to know that this film really is coming from.
Yeah. I mean, again,
you
it feels
feel it.
Like it.
You feel it. But it's good to hear it confirmed from the screenwriter.
We've learned from it. Yeah. It's good. It's really important for us to hear
yep.
the director
yeah, we can all take a little sigh of relief now.
That's, yeah.
So
like Scream too. Scream came from the same point of view of that.
Exactly. Of like, it's satire for a reason. So themes, approach, and history. Waters carries one crucial tool, as he himself describes it, into this screenwriting effort. And here's a quote. "To me, I was just completely naive about everything. I thought, okay, you write a script and then it gets made into a movie and you do whatever you want. And I think that's something that a lot of people don't teach you. That's one of the most powerful forces in the world, especially when you're a writer that's just starting out, is naivety."
Yeah.
I think that's such great advice.
I was going to say, I love that he openly like talks about that too.
Yeah.
'Cause it is so helpful because there's so many like shrouded secrets of like, okay, I got this and I know I need to get there, but like what's the path?
Exactly.
I know where I'm starting and where the end is, but there's no that's what I hate too. Yeah, there's just like everyone wants to like hoard this information of fear. I'm like, if you feel confident, just share this stuff.
Yeah, and that's the only way that you get a film as unique and as, I think, genre defining as Heather's is to just go in being like, everybody's gonna let me do whatever I want, right? You have to.
That's incredible.
So one of my favorite discoveries about the screenwriting process was that the vernacular of Heather's was something that Waters intentionally invented, basically whole cloth, to keep the dialogue from sounding dated. In a very kind of jawbreaker, wanting the fashion to look timeless, actually creating the Y2K look.
Yeah.
Like now we think this is what the 80s sounded like.
Yeah.
This is what Heather's sounds like. And it's very much, like, not only is it so much of a linguistic trendsetter, it's actually one of the most cited films in the Oxford English Dictionary now. It is used as one of like the original sources for so many phrases that are now part of our vernacular.
No way.
And I brought in a quote from Waters saying, "A mistake a lot of people make," this reminded me so much of Jawbreaker, "is that they turn on tape recorders and go into high schools and capture how teens are talking. But I wanted a certain timelessness, and I could guarantee that by coming up with my own slang." Like the "what's your damage" you said that you love?
Yeah.
That's something he'd stolen from a camp counselor that he worked with, that he heard them saying.
Love that. Yeah, I love playing with. I mean, we kind of talk about it too, not to go like too derailed, but I like go through these like modes of like I'll hear some sort of dialogue and then I start bringing it in and then I move on because I just find this idea of having different ways to say like I got a boogie is like my thing when I have to leave somewhere and I'm like, where did that come from? And it's just like I know in like a year I'm going to be saying something else when I leave a room. There's something you said about Heather's too that I'm like, now I want to say that when I leave a room. What was it when she leaves? I don't know. We'll get back to it.
We'll get back to it. Yeah,
there's but yeah, I find that so fascinating. That's what I love about Clueless too. It's just like it was their language.
Exactly.
And it's so perfect.
And there's that, I think that inventive quality is very much how teenage vernacular comes to be.
Yeah.
And that is what makes it feel so authentic, is that it's not trying to imitate teenage dialogue. It's coming from the place of trying to invent it. Yeah. Yep. So a note on Veronica, though, because this is one of the things that really kind of
kazoo
tight. I don't know if that's going to be audible, but Warren just sneezed. Note on Veronica. In the first drafts of the script, which I think I might have accidentally said it was around 300 pages. It was around 200, but that's still extremely long. According to AFI, Waters describes the script as, quote, a Carson McCullers-style novel of a teenage girl who meets the Antichrist. So,
That's incredible.
Isn't that great? But in that version, in the original drafts, Veronica was a lot less sympathetic. Here's another quote from Waters. He said, "You can't overvalue how much Winona meant to this movie. In my initial drafts, Veronica was much more evil and twisted. I referred to her, get this,
Satan,
as a female Travis Bickle from Taxi Driver."
Oh, funny.
And suddenly you're rewriting with Winona in mind, and Veronica becomes more of an audience surrogate, which again, I think is a huge part of why the film works.
Yeah, like...
It's hard to imagine, right?
Yeah, because I think that's... Although she does, like... I'm like, bitch, you don't think a gun's gonna kill somebody? You think it's just gonna...
She knows what she's doing.
Yeah, so there's a part of me that wishes she was a little bit, but again, Winona is... Especially, like, if Edward Scissorhands was right before this. Like,
right after.
Oh, right after. Beetlejuice was before.
Yeah.
And she's so young. Yeah, I get that. She had this, like, wholesomeness about her that how do you not kind of change this character to kind of meet that up?
But imagining Veronica, there's another interview where he literally describes her as Travis Bickle with a vagina. And I'm like, had that been Veronica, this movie would not work.
Yeah, and the same way they changed the ending, I think, for, like, good reason. It's more palatable.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't have been what it is.
Exactly. I think there would not be so many people who relate to it in the same way.
Yeah.
Let's move on to production, though, because, again, I feel like this is a film where you have to spend so much time on the dialogue, but I want to make sure that we get to some of the juicy set details. So, quote from Waters, looking back on the process. Oh, wait, no, I'd already said this. The people come to me and say that this movie couldn't be made today, but my point is it couldn't be made then either.
Yeah.
That's direct quote from him. This movie shot in LA. None of this obviously is in Ohio.
Yeah.
Began in July on a shockingly brief 33-day schedule in 1988, which I'm then particularly confused because it then premieres in Milan sometime in the fall or winter of 1988. And I'm like, if they started shooting in July, that is wildly fast.
Ginger Snaps kind of had to turn shit around real fast too. So
interesting.
I wonder if they,
similar experiences, I imagine.
Yeah.
Do you want to guess what the budget is?
Oh my god!
Give me a budget guess.
I can't. No, there was studio eventually.
It's indie studio. New World Pictures, so it's Roger Corman's house. So they do smaller budgets.
I'm trying to, like, compare it to, like, what mine was right now. 'Cause it's not same time, but roughly. Well, no, actually, like, many years apart.
Yours is 12 years younger than mine.
Older? Mine's 2000.
Yours is 12 years younger. Mine's older.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm going to say, like, 3 million.
Right on the money.
Really?
It's
oh my god, I have not gotten one in a while.
100 at the back.
Who guessed 3 million with me?
Nice. Well done.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Which is, I think, on the cheap side for a film where, you know, you have an underage lead, first of all, which that is real expensive because you could only shoot a certain number of hours a day.
Yeah.
And you have to have, like, tutors and stuff for them. Like, it's very complicated. And not just an underage lead, but underage 2 of the 3 Heathers, I believe.
Oh, dang. Yeah.
Or at least, no, I think it's just Heather Duke that's 17 at the time. We'll get there. But also a high school full of extras, extremely expensive. There's a lot of things in this movie that they really... They stretched that 3 mil for all it was worth.
Absolutely.
Westerberg High is a combination of 3 separate high schools in Santa Monica, Tujunga, and Studio City. Nice. But the church where the funerals take place might look familiar. It's the Church of the Angels in Pasadena, and it also shows up as a location in Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Buffy. Absolutely.
And
Cruel Intentions?
I believe Cruel Intentions as well. Yeah. It's very cool. Storied movie location.
Yeah. Love that.
As you can imagine, this film had a very difficult time finding its cast and crew because most of the people they approached turned it down because of the subject matter.
Yeah,
especially because they did not want to cast 30-year-olds as teens. They wanted everybody, unfortunately for you, to look like they were teenagers.
Yeah, I know.
Whether they succeeded or not, we could debate. But
God, same problem with mine.
That does not surprise me. For Veronica Sawyer, producers had some interesting choices in mind. They wanted Justine Bateman from Californication / Jason Bateman's sister, or the recently Argentoified Jennifer Connelly. Which I could see. Yeah, I could very much see. But nobody wanted this role as badly as Winona. She fought for this so hard. She gives an interview saying I can't even remember how she got them, but she got her hands on the director and screenwriter's phone numbers and started actually stalking them.
I believe that.
Yeah, I completely believe it.
This is me.
Yeah. So she adored this character, offered to do it for free. Goes on to say they probably paid her almost nothing. So basically took her up on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
You got it.
But Waters, this is it's so shocking from a modern perspective, didn't think she was pretty enough. Which I'm what was going on? I know this is a digression, but what was going on in the 90s where we, as a culture, thought that Winona Ryder was quote-unquote not conventionally attractive? Because there's that, line in the 90s Little Women where they're oh, Joe, you cut off your hair, you're only beauty. And I'm it's fucking Winona Ryder.
I know,
she's gorgeous no matter what you do. What are we talking about? Yeah. Wild. So they didn't think she was pretty enough. Whatever. Here's a quote
what it was? They didn't think she was fuckable enough. That's what that was. So she looked probably too innocent for them. Gross.
So here's a quote from Winona about what she does to combat this. From the oral history of Heathers. She says, quote, "At the time, I didn't look that different from my character in Beetlejuice. I was very pale. I had blue-black dyed hair. I went to Macy's at the Beverly Center and had them do a makeover on me."
I love her.
I know.
The Beverly Center.
I know. Director Lehman, much more appropriately grateful for the glory that is Winona Ryder in this role, and says, quote, "Winona was an extraordinary young girl. She was really smart and socially aware, and she had suffered. She was an odd kid from a hippie family in Northern California. She'd been bullied, and because she was unusual and her family was strange, she had a strong personal connection with the character. But at the same time, she was beautiful and talented and smart. So like Veronica, she could identify with the victims and identify with the torturers." Which I think is a really great description.
Yeah. Yep.
How did Winona get so obsessed in the first place, though? Well, while she was working on Beetlejuice, the writer of Beetlejuice was a friend of Waters, and he got his hands on a copy of the script and snuck it to Winona, and she is immediately obsessed. And when Waters sees that, even though at first he's I'm not sure she's got the right look, he's this tells me that I'm doing something right if a teenage girl who is this immersed in film history thinks my script is this good.
Yeah, what a compliment. My God.
Winona's agent felt the exact opposite.
Sure.
And according to Winona, literally got down on hand and knee to beg her not to take the part. And so Winona fired her.
I've learned in these stories as we go through, if your agent, if you feel passionately and your agent's telling you no, that is the project to take.
Yeah. Take that project and fire that agent.
Yeah, if it's that hard, of a difference, it's that's how you know it's probably the right thing.
That's how you know it might blow up. It might be the next Heathers.
Yeah, blow up.
God, sorry guys, did not intend that one. JD, not any easier to cast. They actually, at one point, had Brad Pitt at a table read.
I was going to say Leo DiCaprio, them at the same time.
That would make sense, yep. But the main impression that Brad Pitt made on Waters was for not having great skin at the time. Which is so funny looking back on now.
So, Brad Pitt.
Slater himself was 19 at the time.
Okay.
So, 3.5 years older than Winona. Thought he'd bombed the audition, threw a temper tantrum afterwards, throws his script away.
And then got the role because of that.
Yeah. Eventually gets the good news. Once Winona's been cast, he's the second to get cast after her. And famously and admittedly, basically just does a Jack Nicholson impression the whole movie.
Yeah.
And it's kind of amazing.
It's so good.
I will get to why I think that's an important part of the movie satire, but I think it's a very important part of the movie satire. Meanwhile, casting the Heathers. Heather Graham was top of director Lehman's list for Heather Chandler, which I think would have been incredible. She's Roller Girl, from Boogie Nights.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah.
She's Annie in Fire Walk with Me and Twin Peaks.
Okay. Yep.
And she was only 17 at the time. And her parents couldn't get past the material, and she needed parental permission to do it. So Heather Graham's out. Kim Walker, who we end up getting as Heather Chandler, was dating Christian Slater at the time and got the part instead. But imagine if we'd had a Heather as Heather.
Yeah,
that would have been
pretty great.
Pretty fun.
God, you hoped at least one.
I know, right?
There, but...
For the 80s, you would expect that just statistically.
Heather's everywhere.
Lisanne Falk is the only one who was not a teenager, and it's because she lied about her age at the audition. She was 23 at the time. She's Heather McNamara, the yellow Heather.
Yeah.
Only came clean after being officially cast. Here's how she remembers it. Quote, "After I got the part, we had this celebration dinner, and I said something about how my boyfriend and I were living right down the street from set, and they're like, 'Your mom's okay with that?' And I'm like, 'You guys know I'm 23, right?' And they were all like, I could just see the panic. Yeah.
You're so old.
23. My God. How is anybody going to buy her?
Than the fucking 19-year-old.
I know. So. Yeah. Does look younger than Christian Slater. By a long shot.
That's funny.
And then we have 17-year-old Shannon Doherty. She's the one I said was actually underage at the time. Bless her. In true Heather Duke fashion, wanted to be Veronica. Veronica was already cast at the time.
That,
I could too. But writer already had the part. As Waters, the screenwriter, says, quote, "She wanted to be the lead Heather and Veronica and JD."
She just plays all of them.
I want to see that so badly.
That'd be so funny.
Just as Shannon Doherty does all of Heather's.
Yeah.
She would kill.
It would be amazing.
She would kill. So they got her to audition for Heather Chandler. But she thought Heather Duke was the more interesting character because she goes through so much of an arc from being the one who's kind of kicked at the beginning, like metaphorically speaking, to being basically the most vicious. And she liked that kind of character arc. Gave a really great read. And good thing she did, because she immediately makes herself the squeaky wheel on set by refusing to dye her hair. They want all of the Heathers to be blonde. And she's like, I'm not going to do that. It's going to ruin my hair. They come to red as kind of a midpoint to meet at. But it's a good sign of where things are going to go with Shannon Doherty on set from here. I get why the filmmakers would want all three of them to be blonde. I'm really glad they're not. I think it would have been impossible to tell them apart. But just put a pin in our dear Heather Duke for our making of stories. Take that pin out now. Making of stories.
Put it in, take it out, put it in, take it out. And stab, and stab, and stab, and stab. All right. You have to do that more.
I hadn't done that yet, and I was like, what's Al going to do?
So funny.
Okay.
Sorry, that was really good.
All right. So, poor Shannon. I genuinely, I feel very bad for her reading some of the interviews with the other people she collaborated with, because I feel like they were extremely harsh on somebody who was 17 at the time.
That's the thing you have to remember too, they're literal children.
She's a literal child. But everybody from director Michael to her co-stars have shared stories about how hard she was to work with due to a combination of factors. For one thing, she flat out refused to say some of the lines of dialogue.
Oh, really?
She, again, had grown up very kind of squeaky clean, hadn't had to do this kind of dialogue before.
But you wanted to do it.
I know you got the part, but that's why her famous "Why are you pulling on my dick?" line.
Yeah.
She's kind of smirking. It's because she couldn't say it with a straight face.
That's funny, actually. That's cute.
She also took herself and the movie really seriously. She thought this was a drama. She did not know that this was a comedy. And as producer Dee Novi puts it, I don't think Shannon really got what Heather's was, and that worked for us. She made the character real. As a result, when she finally gets to a cast and crew screening, she runs out of the room crying because she thought she'd been in a drama and is scared
that she fucked up.
No, and I feel really bad for her.
She's
wonderful. I think she is a giant part of why this is as iconic as it is because
she helps balance.
She does. She's giving a really committed, serious performance.
Yeah.
And in Shannon's defense, she did, I think, gain some perspective with time and says in the oral history, quote, about that running out crying moment, quote, I was worried people wouldn't take it the right way. I was worried about social responsibility and what we were saying. Then I watched it again and I was like, wait, this is really good and cutting edge. So like,
she's a baby.
She's 17.
Yeah.
So like, again, let's give her some grace.
Yeah.
However, the one thing I will say on the other side of give her some grace is that Carrie Lynn, who plays Martha Dunstock, has a quote. And I trust her. That's the thing.
God damn it.
She says, quote, the only one in the cast who stuck out like a sore thumb was Shannon. It's like when you get a paper cut and someone just purposely squeezes a lemon on it. She was the lemon. She was just so bitchy. And I'm like, what did she do to Carrie Lynn?
Yeah.
That's the one thing that I'm like, I have trouble forgiving her for.
Yeah, because I feel like there's, when you go on a set or like, especially being just around actors, obviously I'm not an actor, but there is just like, it doesn't matter, you're all theater kids together, and it's just like, there is like a even playing field, but then to be like a little starlet and be like, ugh, you're lesser, it's like, you were all there for the same thing.
You're all there for the same thing.
Stop.
Yeah. What was Christian Slater like on set?
Oh God, please say he was okay. Oh, he's a bitch, wasn't he? He was a little diva.
Well,
I love him.
Director Lehman says in the oral history, quote, Christian was professional, but there were a couple of times where he slept in late and we had to retrieve him. He said he had a sleeping disorder. I could never tell if that was true or if he was just
alcohol partying
late. And then they have a quote from Slater who says, quote, sleeping disorder? Maybe. I don't know if I was ever late or missed any calls. Whatever I had then, I've since recovered. I sleep very well.
Oh my God, that's fun. Well, so he was like, wasn't he like peak Slater at that? Or like,
this was peak Slater. That's
so of course he was fucking going out.
Of course.
Like then when like Hollywood was Hollywood in that way, and you could go out on Hollywood Boulevard and they could do these things before like paparazzi and shit like really ruined everything.
He's one of the bigger stars in the movie and he's just 19.
Come on. Yeah, I'm not surprised at all that he was a little shit.
It kind of makes sense. Yeah. You almost get the vibe watching the movie. Meanwhile, Patrick, who plays Ram Sweeney, says, quote, me and the other guys were sending inappropriate notes to Shannon and the other girls in character in between takes. Sexually inappropriate notes that a high schooler might send. And then they would send back something 3 times grosser.
Funny.
I love that. Isn't that great? Yeah.
Because they were like, in the same way Ginger Snaps 2 is something I don't have in my notes, but the girls talk about their experience being on set and how that it was the girls that were the leads. And so the guys were all really intimidated by them. So when they would come on set, there was like this air of intimidation. So I kind of love that. Others was the same way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm not sure if you know about this. Winona Ryder, Christian Slater have like a brief, terrible situationship.
Yeah, I was gonna say
after this movie. I brought in some quotes. Here's how Winona puts it in the oral history. Quote, I felt a real closeness to him. Maybe it was because, I'll just say it, I was a virgin. I remember getting the talk from my mom, when you make out with someone, it doesn't mean they're your boyfriend. I was like, really? Aww. I was always trying to figure out if we were actually dating, and he would never answer me.
He's like, you're so young.
I know. I remember when we were on the college publicity tour, he told the audience we were getting married, which of course sent me into this giggling thing. But I remember always thinking, what's going on? Like, are we? And he never answered me. And then the interviewer presumably asks Slater a related question. He just says, I definitely love her today. She's a great actress, and that was a unique time for both of us.
God. Honestly, yeah.
Ew.
Well, there was an age gap there, so
yeah.
for that
I mean,
reason.
yeah, also that. Like, they should not have been together. But
the more, I feel like when we were younger, people painted her to be like this like baddie. And
yeah.
and I'm like, you know her now and you hear stuff, I'm like, she was just a little sweetie pie.
It's kind of heartbreaking to hear. Yeah.
Oh.
Back to set, though. What was the director-writer dynamic like? Because our writer was on set the entire time, which is not typical. Yeah. But, like, for this, he
seems like he'd be there.
It's exactly as chaotic as you would hope. Yep. Here's a quote from Waters.
My film.
The first day of shooting was Ash Wednesday, and I came to set with a black ash cross on my forehead. None of the cast had met me, so they thought I was this crazy monk who wrote the script and comes out 3 days a year. I embraced that, and Michael Lehman enjoyed it because he got to be the same guy that everybody talked to.
Oh my God. This man is camp and theatrics.
Yes! Again, he is in the community. One of us.
That's incredible. Great start.
Yes. Production design. Lehman knew that he wanted the film to be visually striking against a backdrop of drab teen movies. Got a great quote from him on it. He says, "Most teen movies just looked bad. I would watch them and think, my God, these people are going out of their way to make these movies look horrible. I felt most of them just failed to be cinematic. I don't know why. John Hughes was creative as a storyteller, but his movies weren't all that cinematic." Which, love the John Hughes hate, first of all.
Yeah, I think it's so funny. I love John Hughes, but he's right. It just looked like high school.
Yeah, it looked like it's filmed very much like a TV show almost, you know?
Yeah.
So I think this is probably the film where I first became aware of the existence of production design because it is so stylized and so pointed. The lighting, the color, the way each of the Heathers like homes and lockers and everything is full of their color palette. I was just like, oh, this is what that can do.
Yeah.
And you know, the color coordination, you know, of course, Heather Duke is the most jealous, so she's green. Heather McNamara is the most cowardly, so she's yellow. It's so wonderful. So who's our production designer? His name is John Huttman. This was his first PD credit, but he goes on to work on Lolita, the 90s version, Coyote Ugly. What Women Want, which I can't believe is coming up on this podcast again. My favorite.
It's a callback to an old episode,
Truly.
guys, if you don't know.
It's an inside joke. Something's Gotta Give. It's complicated in Being the Ricardos. It seems kind of sad to me that he hasn't really gotten the chance to do really stylized stuff like this since Heathers. But
somebody use them, damn.
I know. Some of the PD details in this, like the copy of the bell jar on the table when Heather Chandler crashes through, like it's
perfect.
Everything in this movie. There's so many details.
The hell out of every fucking frame of this goddamn. I think I've on
you and Daniel Waters both.
Yeah. Probably was his post.
Cinematographer Francis Kenny, who I was just like, what else has this guy done? Nothing like Heathers. His other movies, Coneheads, Night at the Roxbury, Wayne's World 2.
Oh, so SNL shit.
He's doing SNL shit.
Wow.
Costumes. This is where I wanted to bring up the blue.
Yeah.
I adore this detail. In an interview with Harper's Bazaar, Winona says that the reason Veronica's always in blue, which to me was always like the least direct color comparison, like in the same way, again, you know, the green is very obvious, the yellow's very obvious, the red's very obvious. Why is Veronica blue? Because blue is the color of a bruise, and she's, quote, beating herself up emotionally.
Shut up. I was wondering what was going to be the, like...
I know.
Wow.
I know!
Does she get bluer over... Does she get less blue over time?
That's
or
a
anything,
good
I wonder?
question. I'm
curious
didn't
to
track
see the
that
story
well.
Okay.
I have...
Because she wears the gray and black with the little blue, and I'm like, is that at the start? And then she starts to... I'm just curious if there's a story.
As you're saying this, I do think she gets... My guess is that she gets less blue over time.
Yeah.
But interesting question. I need to go back and check that. An editing note that I wanted to throw out there. One of the changes they made in the cutting room was to go back, and they felt like there still wasn't enough kind of vulnerability to Veronica and enough of a sense of audience empathy for her.
Sure.
So they went back and recut a lot of her scenes with JD to have the camera focus on Veronica when JD is speaking so that you're concentrating on her reactions instead.
That's so good.
Isn't that satisfying?
That's really good. That's so smart.
Score composed by David Newman, who, as a weird little tidbit, has an unbelievably lengthy IMDb because he's the person who conducted the 20th Century Fox Cinescope Fanfare. And so now he gets a music department credit on every single project that uses it.
Yeah, that's gotta be great.
He also, however, has composed for such masterpieces as both live-action Scooby-Doos. Scoobies do? Scoobies? Scooby-Doos? Scoobies? Scooby? Ice Age, Death to Smoochie, Galaxy Quest, and, drumroll please, The Brave Little Toaster!
It comes back!
Teenage Suicide, Don't Do It. What a bop. Gotta shout out the song. Incredible.
Funny.
The one on the radio that Big Fun plays.
Yeah.
Big Fun does not exist, but the artist who created it is named Don Dixon, who goes on to co-produce a bunch of REM albums.
Oh, funny.
And who releases the track on his own 1992 album entitled If I'm a Ham While You're a Sausage.
I'm sorry, what in the Christopher Guest is that fucking title?
I know.
If I'm a ham, you're a sausage.
I know. And the two versions of Que Sera Sera that are used, one is by Sid Straw, one is Sly and the Family Stone, only after a failed attempt to get the Doris Day one. Doris Day would not approve its use in any R movie.
Sure.
Which makes a lot of sense.
I love the two versions we get, though.
Right? Okay, I'm gonna rush through the release. I already mentioned this film debuts in Milan, wild. Months after its release, then goes on to Sundance, gets its full theatrical release in March of '89, by which point New World Pictures is in the midst of total financial catastrophe. No. It's later sold by its parent company a month after this film is released.
Dang.
Unsurprisingly, does not lead to a strong marketing campaign. As producer Dee Novi recalls, it was a nightmare. I paid for the ad in the LA Times myself the second week. It was $1,800, which to me was like $18,000.
I mean,
yeah.
That's
and I'm like,
a lot of fucking money.
That's why I'm like, that's a good producer.
Yeah.
She put herself on the line when nobody else was doing it. And so you get a flop of epic proportions. This film barely makes 1.1 mil worldwide, so it doesn't even make a third of its budget back. Or makes a third, but nothing else.
Ugh.
And it had played for 5 solid weeks, so it's not even that it didn't have time. It's just people weren't ready, I think.
Yeah.
The rentals world is, and from its VHS days on, Heathers does phenomenal business in the home market. There's Laserdiscs, there's collectible DVDs of character portraits, there's limited edition Heathers tin sets, there's even a 2018 theatrical re-release. And it gets nominated for Independent Spirit Awards, wins Best First Feature. It gets protested along the press tour.
Sure.
And initial responses are pretty mixed. Ebert gives it a 2.5 out of 5 stars, largely for the same reasons that fans love it. The jarring tonal contrasts. He says, quote, "For a long time, we're not even sure of the point of view. Is this a black comedy about murder or just a cynical morality play?" Which, like, exactly.
Yeah.
That's what it's good. That's what's good about it. And to me, the reception that Heathers got reminds me a lot of the reviews for I Saw the TV Glow, where it's like a whole bunch of people being like, I really hated this, but I have to admit the things I hate about it seem like exactly what it's trying to do.
Yeah.
Which I love those films.
Yeah. Same.
Thankfully, people have wised up, now holding 95% from critics, 83% from audiences. Wow. Goes on to influence everything.
Yeah, I mean,
Ginger
Snaps,
Mean Girls, Clueless, Ginger Snaps, The Craft, Jennifer's Body, But I'm a Cheerleader, basically every Greg Araki movie. There's also somebody makes a strong case in the New Yorker for it being a direct ancestor of American Psycho, which I think is a really good point. Then there's all of the Heathers extensions. There's the musical, which I adore. I was listening to on the way over here.
Yeah.
The musical makes an appearance in a Riverdale episode where they're putting on a play of Heathers. Yeah.
Riverdale.
There's the ill-fated 2018 TV series, which I just can't stand the thought of it. Don't want to talk about it. And there's a ton of rumors of a sequel, largely perpetuated by Winona Ryder to the amusement of everybody else involved.
God, we can't keep doing sequels, man.
I know. As Laban put it, in 2009, Winona's been talking about this for years. She brings it up every once in a while, and Dan Waters and I joke about it, but there's no plans for a script, no plans to do a sequel. However, he has pitched what it would be if he were to do one, and it's hilarious. I don't want to see it, but I love that we know what it would be. He says, quote, "I did come up with this crazy cockamamie Heathers 2, where Veronica becomes a page for a senator named Heather, played by Meryl Streep. The ending is her assassinating the president and getting away with it, and it's a good thing."
Oh my God.
I love this man's brain, right?
Damn.
And I just want to close out with this quote from Waters that he gives screenwriters who are working on their first film, because I thought it's like a nice note to end on, where he says, quote, "When I go and speak in classes with people, I tell them that they are at the best point in their life, because for your first script, you're expected to write stuff that's completely out there and completely original. It's the only way you're going to get noticed. There's nothing worse than somebody who sells out before they're asked to sell out."
Oh my God, that's great.
So like, this is the best point. It's so wonderful.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Nice to hear.
I also just want to shout out one little production design detail that I noticed on this watch through, which is that as Heather Duke takes over, a banner gets hung up in the back of the school hallway that says "The New Happiness," and at the very end, when Veronica's coming out, there's 2 students taking the New Happiness banner down.
Oh my God, that's so good.
Yeah.
There's so many things to like look for in this movie.
I know.
It's rich.
I noticed this time around that Heather's bedside table, the drawers, the handles are all punctuation marks. And it was like, of course, because she's a diarist. Like every single detail.
That's genius. I gotta watch it again with more of that. At some point, I probably could know everything about it, but it was good to rewatch because I'm like, it's in the rotation. I want to get the DVDs for both of these really fucking bad. So.
Yeah, I can't believe I don't own Heather's. It is truly part of my DNA.
Yeah. I mean, it is. Yeah. It is the reason why I am. I wanted to come in with mineral water so bad today, and I totally forgot to. That's the only reason you know I'm gay.
There you go. See, this is why I couldn't find out about Daniel Waters. I don't know what kind of water he drinks.
I know. That's actually the question. What kind of water does he drink?
I need to see an interviewer ask him that.
We gotta look at the table.
He knows what it means.
Is it a glass? Or
yes. There's some San Pellegrino on there. Are we talking Evian? What's going on?
So funny. It's so good. I just
so realized I like completely ran out of time for my film theory rant corner. The like short one-line version of it is just, I think that the reason this film is so powerful and so successful and means so much to me as somebody who like has the personal experience I do, is that I truly cannot think of any piece of media I've consumed that does a better job of de-romanticizing suicide, of making it seem like just pathetic and funny, and that's really powerful to see when you're in that headspace.
And people are afraid to do that.
And like honestly, when you're a teenager, that's kind of the only thing that gets through.
Like, don't be pathetic.
Yeah, I don't want to be pathetic.
Yeah, do you really want to be like looked at? And even they have like a line too in Ginger Snaps. This, I mean, these touch on
so similar. Yeah,
and it's just like, I think Bridget has that line about like, I'm like sick at the thought of people just looking at my body lying there. And it's like that's the moment. It's just like and it's just like, oh, I don't want that either. Yeah, and so does that like, I don't want to be seen, or I don't want to seem pathetic. And I think that's such a perfect.
And to me, that's part of why the Jack Nicholson impression is so key too, is it's like he becomes over the course of the movie like a cardboard caricature of himself. Or at the beginning, JD is so sexy and like you want to do what he says, and then by the end it's like he's like, a cartoon. And that's so successful.
I'm just gonna nod to, you said Jack Nicholson. I just watched Witches of Eastwick for the first time. Which might be one of my favorite things ever.
Movie is burned into my brain.
It's perfect. I want to cover it on here at some point.
We should. We absolutely should.
But I was very fresh with like a Jack Nicholson, and I feel like it was kind of that same thing.
Yeah.
We're gonna take a break. We're gonna be told to take a break. So
we're out of time.
We'll be right back.
We're so excited that As Above, So Below Distillery here in Santa Fe, New Mexico just launched an Elvira Mistress of the Dark collab with their official Elvira Autumnal Gin. This all-female distilling team concocted a bewitching brew of botanicals as sexy and mysterious as Elvira herself. With details on the bottle featuring her iconic back tattoo, spiderweb designs straight off her macabre mobile, the attention to detail will delight or fright any horror fan. Distilled with a spooky blend of autumnal botanicals and a touch of macabre magic, the Elvira Mistress of the Dark Autumnal Gin delivers a hauntingly smooth flavor profile with a spine-tingling finish. Crafted for those who embrace their inner darkness, it features juniper, black cardamom, and cubeb. Whether you're sipping it under the moonlight or conjuring up a devilishly good cocktail, Elvira Mistress of the Dark Autumnal Gin will cast its spell on you. Now available to order online at aasbdistillery.com. Please check their website for which states they're shipping to and more information. You can also watch the process of making the gin on our Behind the Screams episode now on YouTube. Until then, unpleasant dreams.
And we're back. Oh my gosh.
Thank you so much for introducing me to this film.
Oh my god. Yeah, Ginger Snaps. Yeah. Boy, I said it earlier, but like, I'm obsessed. It's a good personality of mine now.
I truly cannot believe that I hadn't seen this. Like, it feels like the sort of thing I'd make almost.
Sure.
Like, it's,
yeah.
It's
it
really,
feels like a film lover's film for sure.
Yeah.
And like, especially, I mean, it's not like the smallest budget, but it feels very like indie.
Because I was gonna guess tiny.
I mean, we'll get there.
Yeah,
so
I'll hold my guess.
Yeah, keep it in mind. But we kind of talked a little bit before. I had so much fun looking up stuff. There's still, again, it's like hard because we have to balance our other work. So it's like I kind of have to cut myself off. But there is a behind this, or like I shouldn't say behind the scenes. There's a retrospective on YouTube. There's a million great like sources. I kind of had like a tiny desk film theory. I have a feeling kind of much like yours. We're not going to get there, but I do have the article that is really, it says all the things better than I would say it anyways. But yeah, I don't know. I remembered really liking it. I wasn't expecting to just be like, I feel like fully obsessed.
Yeah.
Like fully obsessed in the same way like Heather was defining. I feel like Ginger Snaps is going to be something that like I carry with me.
I feel like I might have my Halloween costume now.
I know.
Like,
oh my God, we should we should go with the sisters. Can we please go? You have the hair of the sister.
Oh my God, yes.
Was a wig. And we could talk about why. Yeah. But I feel like because of time, do we want to just dig in with taglines? Okay,
let's
so 2000.
Dive right in, baby.
We know it's the start of my favorite time.
Al's era.
Yeah, my era. So taglines, there's a few, and they're all kind of like, they're in there. There's obviously the like, dead at six or out at 16 or dead on the scene.
Yeah.
Obviously there's a lot of queer indications to that with these sisters. We're not gonna again talk too much about that, but very gay
we all know.
feeling to this movie.
Very gay.
So that's one of the taglines. We also have she's got the curse. Which I like. It's a period movie. Yeah. So it's great
that's really
to that.
Good. I'm really into that.
They don't call it a curse for nothing.
Hate.
I know.
Terrible.
Hungry like the wolf. So I like the song. I didn't like that one. This is my favorite. Well, there's they are weird, ... And there's some where there's like a second part to that. And I said, that should be our tagline.
Oh, but they are weird, ... End
there's
of
a second part, but there's also often it looks like it's by itself of just they are weird.
Incredible.
And then my favorite is, I misquoted it earlier. I thought it was Ginger doesn't snap, she bites. Or Ginger doesn't bite, she snaps. But it's Ginger snaps and bites. I like mine better.
Yours is better.
So those are the taglines. They're fine. Again, they kind of like say everything in them. I think some people forget that like Ginger Snaps, it is her name in the film. So we have our director, John Fawcett.
His name sounded very familiar.
Director John. Yes. So he is a co-creator of Orphan Black, the TV series.
That's what I'm recognizing it from.
What he's known for.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. So he's co-creator, executive producer.
I could see that. That makes a lot of sense, actually.
Yes. So that's his main thing. This was his second feature. His first was a film in 1996 called The Boys Club, starring Devon Sawa.
Okay, so we have to watch that now.
I know. I really want to see because I'm like, damn, also directorial debut.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, so this is his second film. We will talk a lot about his, like, I would say in the same way your film, like, I want to say co-creator. She's credited as a writer, Karen Walton. I fucking love Karen. This movie would, in the same way Denise, right, for years, this movie actually would not have happened without her. So amazing. Karen Walton is the one I have the most quotes from.
Love.
I just really like her. I like their collaboration. So, Karen Walton, if she's also did Orphan Black, this is a Canadian production, so they did Queer as Folk, or she did Queer as Folk and episodes of Flashpoint. So those are like her main.
Interesting. Do we know if she's queer?
I don't know.
It feels like it.
I'm not sure. Again, much like I didn't dig in because she kind of just felt. I don't know. She's like blonde and just seemed like really like baddie energy, but I don't know. I don't know if she's queer. But
curious.
She initially was super unsure about writing this film, specifically a horror film, because she didn't like the way at the time women were portrayed in horror films. So she was like, I don't think I want to do this. She had known John for a while. And so they kind of had this like past together. But he convinced her to do it, by saying he wanted this film to break those cliches. And so she was like, okay, fine. If I could be a part of that, I'll do it. So in an interview, she kind of was talking about taking this job and kind of writing the script for a werewolf film, saying, quote, initially I shied away from werewolves, which is a theme in this film, because at the time there was really, the werewolf genre was a wasteland, which is how her and John felt. They were not fans of werewolf films at the time. She thought they were terribly cheesy movies, other than American Werewolf in London, which I hard agree.
Interesting.
That was initially why I didn't want to take a werewolf movie. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized that it was a reason to do it, because there was nothing good in that subgenre of horror.
You can be the first one.
So you could be the first one. So I really thought about trying to reinvent this. I wanted to make something that people hadn't seen before, which is where we get Ginger Snaps. Of course, John Fawcett, like I said, co-wrote it with her, but he really gives a lot of the credit to Karen. He goes, any kind of notes that I had came from like this director space. So it was a lot of that, and then bringing in the horror elements, which she was not very comfortable with. So that's kind of where he gives himself credit. But he was like, this is her
Karen's
script.
Story.
She is the screenwriter. I am not. And so he said, quote, Karen is a very prolific character dialogue writer. Hard agree. She grew up in the suburbs in Edmonton. Herself, she was very witty. She was very quick. She was very caustic. I don't think I know what that word means. She's very dark, and she gets the sense of humor. And so I think that's why this dialogue, in much like Heather's, it was its own thing, and I don't really feel like it lives in this time frame of like early 2000 per se. So getting into, and we'll talk a little bit more about the script. So we're coming back to that later. Starring. So the casting took place in Los Angeles, New York, Toronto, Montreal, and Vancouver. They searched for 6 months to find the right people for it. So I'm really going to just talk about the two girls.
They're incredible.
Oh my God. So they really had a hard time. They wanted to find not just actors that could portray these characters well, but that could be siblings
and
specific.
They really feel
so
like
they would, so they would find like one girl and be like, she's great, but then we can't find her sister. So they went through this really lengthy process. Canadian casting directors, because of the time frame. So for context, Columbine happened in 1999. That's when they were casting this. Yes. There was also another shooting in Alberta.
Oh, yeah.
And so casting directors were so appalled that when they gave them the script and had them do a casting call, some casting directors went straight to the news. And so there was outrage that this production was even happening. And they're like, we haven't even shot anything yet.
Oh my God.
Like, we haven't filmed anything yet. This isn't cast. Like, we're doing this. So fuck those casting directors for like spilling tea on something. Like, damn, like your job is just to find the right people for this role. So
and also, like, I can understand at the time where they'd be coming from, but much like Heather's, it just feels like you're missing the humor.
Yeah.
That's the whole point.
Yeah. And it wasn't done, it was created before those events too. So, and it's a period film.
It's a period film.
It's about a period.
That's what it's about.
Yeah. So, they had a really hard time finding these girls because of that, until they found Emily Perkins, and they call her Katie Isabel. They auditioned the same day at their agency in Vancouver, kind of reading off camera to one another. And so when their tapes arrived, screenwriter Karen Walton said that they were exactly as she had pictured, and said, quote, it's like the cast walked right off the page into real life, which we've heard before. I remember meeting Emily and Katie and almost being in tears thinking, this is eerie how perfect they are. It gives me goosebumps because they are exactly as individuals how I hoped for the performers who accepted the roles would be. And then as players representing Bridget and Ginger, they hit it right on the money. We couldn't have had a better cast. And it's kind of wild. Put a pin in that of kind of how they were meant to be for these roles. So like I said, we have Katie Isabel as Ginger. She goes on to star in the 2 Ginger Snaps sequels. I have not seen those. I do not know what they're about. So have nothing to say to those. As well as a long list of other horror films. And she was in 9 episodes of the show Hannibal. So she's a horror queen.
Love.
The role of Ginger was originally offered to Sarah Polley. She was 2004's Dawn of the Dead. She's in Splice, Mr. Nobody. She's like a really big activist as well. And I watched the behind the scenes, and I think this is who they were talking about. They didn't say her name, but they were like, we almost cast someone who is a huge celebrity now. Natasha Lyonne. Ginger. She's a ginger. But can you imagine?
That makes perfect sense.
I don't think it would have been better. She turned it down anyways. Good. And I'm really happy she did. Because
this was the perfect casting.
Yeah. There was something about her arc that I think Natasha Lyonne just seems so sure of herself.
Yeah, I think Ginger needs to feel really kind of insecure.
Yeah.
In a way that I couldn't buy from Natasha Lyonne.
I know. I'm like, she's just a baddie.
Yeah. So. I feel like she's always known that, too.
Since Pee-wee's Playhouse.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ever since. We have Emily Perkins as Bridget. She gives a lot more interviews that I've watched on this. So she's just like a little sweetie pie in fucking interviews. I didn't realize. I just watched, I was like, trying to figure out what she had done, and I hadn't listed her credits. She was Beverly Marsh, the young Beverly Marsh in It. And I was just watching that like 2 days ago, and I didn't realize it was her because her features, she gets a lot more sharp features. But yeah, so that's like, and she's in a ton of fucking horror projects too since then. But yeah, she's baby Beverly.
That's so
which
cool.
Is so cute. Yeah. She also credits like her love of horror. She gives this interview talking about how her parents used fear as a way of discipline when she was younger. And so it really drew, and I was like, girl, you probably don't want to say
You need some therapy.
Unless you don't talk to your parents. You probably don't want to say this. But she's just like, every interview she gives, she really loves this project. She loved working with everyone. Again, they were younger as well on this. I'm not sure how old, but she talks about when she first read the scripts for the role and saying, quote, before I'd read the script, when I'd only read a couple of scenes for the audition, I thought, what is this? This is some sort of semi-pornographic movie geared toward 15-year-old boys.
Oh my gosh.
I really didn't get it at all. And then I read the entire script and thought, whoa, this is actually pretty high-level consciousness. I was drawn to it immediately.
Interesting.
Some other people up for the role of Bridget that were considered for the role were Kate Beckinsale, Zooey Deschanel.
Oh no!
Which I love her. I love her in Almost Famous, but like
terrible. Would not work for
Wouldn't
this
get
character.
the angst from her.
Absolutely not. Also, I think it's important that the character not be somebody who's like a Hollywood actress, conventionally attractive type of look.
Same.
Like,
I think that had a big part of it too. Is like she embodied.
Yeah.
And then Anne Hathaway.
Again.
Yeah.
No.
So this would have been pre-Princess Diaries too, so no one like knew her. But again, it's too pure. And like one of the big notes that they had for Bridget's character is, which I love because it reminds me of Wednesday Addams, that she only kind of smiles around their mom, Pam. But it's this very awkward smile to kind of be like, hey, we're definitely not doing the thing. We're totally fine, adjustable kids right now. And I just think those actresses are just too innocent for that role.
I agree. There's a darkness in
yeah.
You need.
You can't, otherwise it would have turned into a caricature.
Yeah, I agree.
We have Peter Kelligan as Mr. Wayne. I only noted some of these people because I couldn't believe who was up for the part. Robin Williams was considered to play Mr. Wayne, which would have been a wild thing. I'm sure they could not afford him.
I'm sure they could.
Nor he would have been interested, to be fair. But it's
not
something that feels kind of fun to hear. Rumored or true, we don't know. But oh my God, I realize I don't know how to say this actor's name. John Burgess. He's Henry the Dad.
Okay. Yeah.
Tim Allen was considered for that role as well, which I've been doing a Home Improvement rewatch. So again, all of these things are just coming in. Yeah. I just thought that was kind of fun. Can you imagine Tim Allen? The boys are giggling. Yeah, we just did the Home Improvement.
Oh my God. Periods? What? The curse? What?
Oh my God, too much fun. You guys, we have to keep this on track. Warren has a heart out. Everybody listen in. Okay, so along with the girls auditioning the same day, that's not where the coincidences stop and why I think they were destined for these roles. They were also born in the same hospital, attended the same schools, preschool, elementary school, private school, and worked at the same talent agency. And then although Katie is supposed to be playing Emily's older sister, she's actually 4 years younger. So they're different in age.
Interesting.
But it keeps going. Both Katie and Emily appeared in season 5 of The X-Files in different episodes, just 2 years before Ginger Snaps. Along with their role, as long as Katie's role in Emily, the two actresses portrayed sisters in a 28 film, Another Cinderella Story, so like after this in 2008. They also have been in multiple episodes of Supernatural. And then again, like I said, Emily was in It. They both kind of starred in Stephen King novel adaptations. So Katie was in the remake of Carrie. And then, like I said, Emily was in It, and they both aired on ABC Network. And then we have some more coincidences, not so much with them, but with the cast. So Katie, Chris, who plays Sam, and then Christopher, who plays Ben, were in episodes of the show Goosebumps. So I got to go back and watch those episodes. And then they were also in some episodes of Are You Afraid of the Dark? So again, cute. They kind of were like Canadian horror kid scene actors.
Sense. Do you know if Emily and Katie had met before this?
Yes, they kind of, because they were like 5 years apart. So she said, although they weren't like friends because of the age difference, she said they like knew of each other because they were both acting. They both went to the same school. So they kind of had,
they were aware of each other.
They were aware of each other. Cool. So again, I think it was just destined to be. Wild. And I'm like, how same day audition too. So and then if you watch the credits, there's a special thank you to Lucy Lawless, who is Xena the Warrior Princess. And you're like, what the fuck does that have to do with anything? She has an uncredited voice cameo. She voices the announcer in the school's PA system and says Raimi twins, Samuel and Theodore, because Sam Raimi, they were exec producers on the show.
Oh my
Xena.
God.
So they kind of had that little tie. So I just thought it was kind of
so
fun.
Cute.
Yeah. I'm trying not to rush. Okay. I feel like that was like the stuff I kind of wanted to get out of the way. Script and conception.
Yes, please.
Oh my gosh. So, like I said, it's the two of them coming together. So in January of 1995, so 5 years previous to this actually coming out, director John was already planning his second feature with the goal to kind of make this metamorphosis film, and he really wanted to have like teen girls and be the horror genre. He said he got this inspiration after watching David Cronenberg's 1994 film Heavenly Creatures, which I still have not seen.
Peter Jackson.
Is it not David Cronenberg?
No.
Oh, fuck.
Peter Jackson.
Oh,
I
shit.
love it.
Where did I write that from?
Okay,
it's Heavenly Creatures. Yeah. My bad, everybody.
So good.
Don't yell at me. I can hear you.
I know you said that there are other Cronenbergs.
There's other Cronenbergs. I probably
it probably just got
copy
pasted.
But yeah, I've
Sorry
not
to correct,
seen that.
It's so good.
So we just watched that. You might be able to tell.
Makes a lot of sense.
Does
actually.
It? Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Think of it as like the sapphic version of this.
Oh.
Like they're like a couple instead of sisters, basically.
Oh.
Think it'd be really up your alley.
Okay.
And there's no werewolves, but it's like other than that. Very
pretty
similar.
much. Okay, cool. So he watched that and he was like, aha, I want to do something like this. So he said, I have a lot of quotes from everybody. I watched a lot of interviews. Yes. So he said, quote, I was aiming for something that I hadn't seen before that transcended genre, a bit of a genre mashup. So that's what he wanted to do. That would take a well-known genre trope and make it something new and fresh. And then trying to build around it these female characters who I'd always wanted to see but had never seen before. So I love... Again, he seems straight. I'm not sure. I didn't look up for this one because it didn't feel inherently queer, but I just love that he kind of wanted to give love to, instead of the boys in this genre, give it to the girls. So he said in early days, he'd really just wanted to make a transformation movie and had a bunch of ideas. And he said these girls in his mind always, I love this, he called them two sticky Edward Gorey girls who lived in the suburbs.
Yes, they are Edward Gorey girls.
I thought it was great.
That's a really good description.
Yeah. So that's like what he knew. That's what he wanted from the get-go. So he said the more Karen and him worked on the script, the more they were able to draw comparisons to female adolescents and how Karen was invaluable to him as she took directly from her own experiences. So he really gives a lot of why this movie landed to her, and I appreciate that so much from a male director. again, they just talk a lot about kind of matching up, like how the lunar cycle makes so much sense with werewolves, with periods. And so they really started to like unravel. And he said they really had a lot of like aha moments as they kind of discussed these two things. So something that he wouldn't know a lot about, he kind of came into realization and kind of wanted to have this layered, complex story that wasn't just a werewolf flick, because again, they weren't huge fans. So he said about Karen, quote, "I realized I needed a female voice. I wasn't going to be able to provide that, obviously. And I wanted the experience of someone who lived through all the hormonal ups and downs of puberty and adolescence. It was important that even among all the hijinks and idiocy of concept, those characters were real. And I read some of her writing, and I knew her quite well as a person and how she spoke normally. And I was like, man, if we could get away with how you speak normally on the page of these girls, this will be a winner." So again, this language really comes from just her. Who she is. That's which I think is funny because in interviews, I think she's trying to be a little bit more poised. It's also a lot of retrospective. So I'm very curious of
what she's like when she lets her hair down.
Yeah. When she's not giving these like interviews. So again, like I said, they kind of wanted to have this unique take and really talk about how in most werewolf films, you know, you see people going back and forth, but with puberty, there's no going back.
Right.
You're just have to stick. And so that's why at the end we get this girl that like, this is just going to be her life from here on out, which I love. To this, Kathleen said, "So when John Fawcett, as a horror fan, told me to break all the rules, not to worry, well, that was a really critical process with one slow transformation that gave me an arc because I'm a character writer and not a monster writer. I want to tell a story. And then on that story, we hung this relationship of the two sisters, two friends, and a metaphor about growing up." She goes on to say, "This was a really important decision for us. That was a big puzzle when trying to figure out this film because I thought a lot of these werewolf films were the same. The white male actor, the sudden changes, always a guy with his friend who reacts, hey dude, what's wrong with you? And then he changes back and so forth. So I started reading my mythological and cultural stories about the human and the wolf connection, not just in our culture, but in others. And I was frustrated and I told John that I did not want a film to end like all these other werewolf movies.
Love that.
So it really is this tragedy of and there's so much I want to talk about that we'll put a pin in kind of like the feminism, and again I'll try and save the film, but I'm going to give this article for everone, like all of you guys to read. It's very concise, but it kind of says all the things that I want to say. Cool. So director John, like I said, told her not to take the rules of werewolves so seriously. They actually have like a little hint of that dialogue. So when Sam and Bridget are talking, he talks about like breaking the rules of Hollywood, and that's kind of their nod to that. Director John says it's on a mythological creature born under a full moon. Rather, it's treated as ginger snaps as a biological infection that grows from inside through the bloodstream. So a lot of people have the question of like, where was the first werewolf? Like, how did this all start? And it's just like, he doesn't really have an answer for that. He's just like, it is just nature. It is biology. It's something that just it exists in this world. So I love that that's kind of their out with this, that there wasn't like a patient zero that we have to worry about. So now we're getting to the budget. So once they had like this rough script finish, Karen and John had approached producer Steve Hoban. He's a Canadian film producer and also produced Splice.
Oh, interesting.
And so they'd worked with Steve before. He agreed to produce it, and then he hired Ken Chubb, great name, a script editor. So he kind of came in to kind of finish the story to get it ready for pitching. So they said they wouldn't have gotten away with all these things if they had done this under a studio. So much like yours, they were just like did their own thing. Yeah. Tweaked it a little bit and then kind of presented it. So after working on it for 2 years, they kind of went out to find financing. But like I said, we unfortunately had struggle with that because of Columbine, because of school shootings that had started to come on the rise. And the newspapers were writing about how this, why would we glorify teen violence and all these things. I'm like, I feel like everyone's missing the point. And are you even reading it? Because it really is about this internal adolescence
it's so not about that. It's harder.
Teen violence is the last thing I would describe this film as.
Right. Like
truly.
with Heathers, I understand where people are like,
no.
Like it's literally about a kid bringing a gun to school.
Yes.
Like
a lot of shooting.
There's it's very direct.
Yeah.
What's the direct correlation?
I don't think anything. But everyone was very heightened, understandably so. So yeah, they had they were calling it a teen slasher film in the papers, again, from these casting directors. No.
At all.
And then
is there a body count in this? Like the werewolf.
There is.
And
well, here's my thing too. I don't know if some of these teens then turn into werewolves. And
yeah. It's like either way, there's not like a whole lot of death.
I would never call this a teen slasher.
No.
But that's what the newspaper started to call it. From that, people were already kind of like boycotting this film that wasn't even made. So they struggled a lot, again, during casting, during financing. Thankfully, Motion International committed to co-financing.
Good.
While Trimark Pictures agreed to also be a co-financer, and then they would also distribute it and kind of be like the sales agent for them. So they got somebody. The film was almost ready to go into production fall of 1998, but negotiations kind of fell through with Trimark because the producers had missed the budgeting deadline for Telefilm Canada.
Guys.
And so they couldn't get their federal funding. Again, that was part of it too, is it was federally funded. So people were like, our money is going to this thing when there's all these tragedies. So keep that in mind.
That makes sense, yeah.
They would have had to go forward with the project with only 60% of the budget Steve Hoban had secured for them. And thankfully, Steve, again, nodding to producers, he was like, we can't do that.
Yeah.
So he was like, let's just hold on. We'll figure something out. Thank fuck. So during this time, Trimark had dropped the film, but Lionsgate picked it up, which is funny because Lionsgate and Trimark would, in 2000, merge.
Yep.
So I'm like, what was this all for?
That's wild.
So they did get their budget, and I would... have you take a stab?
Oh my gosh. Before you told me this, just off of watching the film and seeing the like Canadian government in the credits, I was like,
isn't that wild?
I was like under $1 million. I don't think that anymore after this. 1.8? Higher?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, this looks really cheap. Like,
and
I say that lovingly. Like,
it's not just hear your budget.
Yeah.
And then hear, I mean, mine's around yours.
Also 3? Like around there?
It was 4.3. 4.3? 4.5.
I kid you not, I turned to my partner after watching last night and I was like, I'm guessing 450.
I know.
Like 450K.
I don't know where some of it went. I'm wondering like music. But even at the time.
Monster effects?
I know, but there's not a ton.
Yeah, we don't see them on screen a whole lot.
Yeah, and that was purposeful too. So yeah, 4.5. So where that budget went?
That's especially thinking about the scale of Heathers compared to the scale of this.
Yeah,
there's explosions. There's like giant scenes with hundreds of extras in Heathers. Like we don't even see that many of the students in this.
Yeah.
Wild.
So who knows there? But
whoa, I've never been further off on a movie.
It feels indie.
Yeah.
It feels like we said. It feels like a indie filmmaker's film.
100%.
But like done.
Yeah, and
really, really
and
well.
I say that again with love,
with the most love.
Yeah,
it's such a good movie. So keep that rattling around your brain until we get to what it made back. So location. This was shot in 6 weeks, so not much longer than yours. Between October 25th and December 6th, 1999.
Aw, they shot at the right time in the year for the story.
Yeah. So, but keep that in mind. So
it's gonna be very cold because I'm guessing this is shot in Canada.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
So mainly shot in 3 suburbs of Toronto.
Okay.
That's the setting of Bailey Downs, and Bailey Downs actually makes it's a fictional town. Unlike Bodega Bay and The Birds. 15 years later, in a 2015 anthology film, which Steve Hoban, the producer, actually directs one of these called Christmas Horror Story, he uses Bailey Downs as a setting. So the first day of shooting, they actually shot all those still photographs for the title sequence, all those like gruesome deaths.
Adored
and that's what I love too. It just feels very like DIY in that way. Yeah. So, because the girls were all bloody, and staging their deaths, they drew a crowd in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
And they used a neighbor's house, like the basement, to do their like wardrobe change. And I guess those people had like a child, so they would have to distract the child as to not just traumatize her for life to get out of there.
That's incredible.
And speaking of fun little things like that, Karen remembers that day she was at home, probably writing like she was like the movie of the week that day. And she said she got a call from director John just giggling on set, being like, this is the most fun, like these girls. So she got that and said that he was just like loving what he was doing that day. I think tried to convince her to come down. She's like, I'm good. And he kind of recalls how fun that day was, saying, quote, we were just doing all these crazy over the top suicide photos and trying to shoot as many as we possibly could in the afternoon we had. You know, it's not meant to be real. It's their fake pictures. So we just had a lot of fun with that. But I just love the idea that he was having so much fun his first day of shooting.
That's incredible.
He's like, Karen, you should be here. You should see the way she's hanging.
Oh my God.
You know what I mean?
Love that. It's adorable.
Yeah. So although fun, they had many long shooting days. Again, it's winter. They basically, the schedule started to be pushed so much that they started every day later and later because their shoots would go longer at night, to the point they were basically shooting at night. For the daytime. Again, it's winter. They're outside a lot. The DP then had to figure out, because again, they were shooting daytime during the day and now shooting at nighttime.
Night for day.
Yeah. And so the DP said that they used diffusion gel and 4 18-kilowatt lamps, which generated enough light to be seen a mile high in the sky and make it look like daytime. So I can imagine these like little suburbs, and here comes this fucking motley crew of people and just these spotlights on everything.
That's actually probably where a good chunk of budget went to.
Oh my God,
like that
they
had
sense.
Yeah.
They got the rest of that fun day in.
Truly.
And so they said too, because they were shooting outside at night, working these long days, it was like every week they said cast or crew would be getting sick throughout the whole process of this. It was fun set, but also not so fun.
Grueling.
Moving on to set design. I don't know if you noted this, but I had noted this before I watched it. There's no real pop culture references in this.
Yeah, and I loved that their bedroom is not only so plain, but so, like, disgusting.
I know. They're really, like, living in this. They probably wanted to move down to the basement. They probably had perfect, like, bedrooms upstairs. I feel like they wanted to share a space downstairs. And it was, like, as it was being, like, reworked in the basement and everything.
Because the rest of the house looks very nice and suburban, and it's their space that is gross.
And unfinished. So they obviously deliberately wanted to emphasize kind of the alienation of like the suburbs. Writer Karen kind of speaks to this, saying, quote, you have to remember that the setting of this film is where the 4 key production figures of the film were from. So everyone that kind of led this, Karen, John, and producers, the suburbs, where there is nothing but roofs for miles. This is very common in America. Again, this is a Canadian production. They also have a big UK fan base for this film.
Interesting.
She says very common in America and West Central Canada, these huge subdivisions where there is nothing. And so they kind of wanted them rebelling up against that and not kind of fitting into this norm. They talk about kind of the dead end of living here. And moving on to storyboards. I have some to show you. They're really tiny, though.
Oh, that's so cool.
So before we jump into special effects, we have Vincenzo Natali. So he helped.
Sounds familiar.
He does. Because he did. He was a director for In the Tall Grass that we talked about.
That's what it was.
Yeah. I was like, why is his name familiar? And I was like, Google, I had to pull it up. And I was like, oh my God, because we've talked about him as a director in 2019. So
I never would have put that together.
He did storyboards and like conceptual art.
So cool.
So I think that's so cool. Shout out, he's born in Detroit.
Interesting.
He had his own directorial debut in 1997 with his movie Cube. He also directed Splice. And then he did a bunch of the 90s Little Bear TV series. So that's where he comes in. And then I just wanted to show you these. They're hard to find. I think he has a book online. You guys will probably see on our social page.
Oh, that's sick.
So he kind of helped with figuring out, because the big thing on this is director John wanted no After Effects kind of special effects. Everything is
everything
practical.
Looked practical.
One, because it was expensive to do it the other way.
Yep.
And two, he just, again, nods to, like, why does he love American Werewolf in London so much? He
Practical
just goes,
effects.
it's just better looking.
Yeah.
It just looks better.
Well, and I think werewolves in particular, it's such a, like, bodily kind of monster.
And he's a fan of Cronenberg, and that was where his love came from. And I'm sure there was a lot of budgetary reasons why, but he really was just like, it just looks better.
Yep.
And they didn't really have a plan to show much of it until the end anyways, because again, they didn't want this to be a werewolf film. It is really a story about adolescence. So that's where that comes up. We have Paul Jones. So he's the man responsible for the creature effects, prosthetic makeup.
He's done creature effects on something else we've covered.
He's done a ton of stuff. I'm trying to think of what we've covered.
Okay, but I know
Silent Hill.
Him.
Silent Hill.
Okay, that's it. Yep.
We also have 2011's The Thing, Bride of Chucky, Hellraiser 2, Resident Evil films. He also did shows like Orphan Black, of course, Star Trek Discovery, and the TV series What We Do in the Shadows.
Oh my God, amazing.
So this man has touched everything. He is a delight to watch interviews with. He almost like, you know how, I don't know, special effects guys that kind of have this like grunginess to them. And
there's
this
very
like,
specific personality.
But he seems, it's so funny. He seems so much more buttoned up than that.
Aww.
But just a genius and a really cool guy to listen to talk.
Amazing.
So he's the guy responsible for a lot of this. He recalls hearing about the project at some sort of like dinner party, which I'm like, bitch, how do I get an invite to some of these dinner parties that these people get hired? So he heard about it. Director John was like, we are nowhere near. We don't even have a script yet. Like, I can't hire you for anything. So time passes. He then gets a call from them about this project being like, I think from even Karen, saying, hey, we're having a bunch of people in town audition by submitting what they think the werewolf at the end will look like. Do you want to submit something? And he's like, I'm going to let you save your... He's like, are you going to pay for this, first off? Because he's like, are you having a bunch of people do this for free? Are you paying? Which I love.
Yeah, smart.
And they were like, oh, we're paying everybody.
Good. I was not expecting that.
No. They're like, we're paying everyone. He goes, save your money. John has such a specific look for this werewolf which we'll talk about. Yeah. He goes, you're just going to get like 6 versions of the same thing. That's not a good way to do this. The next day he gets the call to get the part. And probably because he's saving him money. Yeah. Yep. So that's his story of how he got the job. He kind of talks about this in a quote that I found from him. He said, Ginger Snaps struck me as a film that would show off what I do for a living extremely well. It has everything in it. Every aspect of what I've done over the last 5 years is in this film. Transformed humans, werewolves, dead animals, prosthetic makeup, sculpting, animatronics. And from a story point of view, it struck me as an excellent genre storytelling. It's about this young woman who's going through this horrific transformation while going through this personal hell at the same time. I thought the combination of the story and the makeup opportunity was great. So I'm very happy so once hired, Paul started to work on the creature design with director John. And so we get this very unique looking werewolf that, if you will notice, it wasn't meant to have as much fur as it has at the end, but John really wanted something that didn't have a lot of fur. He really wanted a lot of muscle. And again, we kind of get this like sickly looking sweaty monster at the end.
It almost looks like it has mange or something.
I know, right? Even when she gets that little tuft.
Yeah.
I'm like, you can't have her get a tuft and then not have a little bit on that. So that was actually Paul's doing.
Interesting.
Again, he kind of wanted this skeletal look, and he didn't want him to look like a werewolf. That's why you don't really hear the word werewolf in this. They say lycanthrope. Yeah. They stick to that. They were trying, I think it's so funny as people who did make a werewolf movie.
Yeah.
Don't want to make a werewolf movie. And that's why I think it works so well.
I agree.
And so this is probably where I got Cronenberg from. So director John really wanted it to be like the Fly transformation that Cronenberg did. And we kind of see that when she's like breaking through. It's really like, again, that wet look. That's
very Cronenbergian.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good. It's a little derpy at the end, but that's fine.
I'm so along for the ride by that point that like I'm very forgiving by the time.
It's just kind of fun in that way for that. Yeah. I also said she looks in her like end transformation right before she's fully werewolf. She's giving like Buffy vampire vibes is what the prosthetics look like.
Very much.
Yeah. So director John said that because they kind of wanted this Cronenberg look to it, Paul Jones actually ended up hiring and flew over artists straight from London, straight off of George Lucas's Phantom Menace, to sculpt the creature under his supervision while he kind of concentrated on all the other effects.
Interesting.
And kind of used people that he knew around him. So some of the artists we have are Sean Harrison. He has worked on fucking everything. A bunch of Avengers films, Captain America, Game of Thrones, Harry Potter films, Hellraisers, World War Z. He's pretty much touched everything. He is like that guy. And then we have Kate Hill. She also worked on a bunch of the Harry Potter films, Sleepy Hollow, which we want to cover, and 28 Years Later most recently. So those are some of the people that he had working under him to do this. So he was very much like, you can do you. I'm going to focus on this. We have all those subtle changes too. There's even moments where like her eye, there's like tiny little prosthetics.
I saw that. Yeah,
here.
that was really cool.
Her hair changing too is so good.
The silver streaks.
God, it's so good. And just over time, I'm like, she walks so Lindsay Lohan and fucking Freaky Friday could run.
Truly.
So, talking about this vision and working together and how to bring this monster to life, Paul Jones talked about this, saying, again, I'm sorry guys, I have a lot of quotes, saying John's vision for the creature was all there right from the beginning. He had sketches he had done over the years he was developing the script. Love when directors fucking come in with a vision. And he just hadn't seen like anything like this 3-dimensional. So we talked, he described it to me, and I built it. All I had to do was to figure out how it would work, because I wanted it to do certain things, especially at the end. It's all fine and well to say you want an albino werewolf, but you want it to walk around and jump on the table and turn its head and snarl and drool. That's where I come in. The technical aspect of actually getting from point A to point B was the hardest part. The cosmetic look of the thing was fairly easy because John really knew what he was looking for. So that's where we kind of get this suit. It was kind of hard to find people talking very specifically about this werewolf. Initially, Paul Jones wanted it to be a puppet, and John was like, no,
I could see that.
No, thank you. So it is a man in a suit with this head. So it's 2 pieces. It's a full body suit because, again, they wanted this really like sickly, bony. So they had to put a stuntman in there. Paul Jones was not a fan of stuntmen because he goes, they really don't know how to be a character. So and I don't know who this poor stuntman was.
Oh, no.
But they had to stick him in this suit. They had this heads. And of course, because it's so bony and it doesn't have fur, they couldn't hide zippers. And he's like, I can't glue this man in here because he'll fucking melt and die. So he basically puts fur to cover these zippers. And so when director John comes to set that day, he's like horrified to see there's a little bit of fur on this thing. But that's why they slicked it down, and he looks a little bit wet as kind of to meet in the middle there. But he's like, you can't ask me to do this thing
with nowhere to put
and then I can't, how do I get this guy in there?
Yeah.
So that's kind of where we get the little bit of fur tufts. I do think it works.
It's a good way of hiding it.
Yeah. And you know, we see Ginger start to look sickly. The boy looks super sickly. So it kind of feeds into this virus aspect that they're going for in the end.
And you're right. We've heard and seen so much about the hair. Like at that point, like, we need
something somewhere. So I think good choice. And because it was all practical effects, our poor lead of Ginger did not have a great time.
Oh no.
It was her first time getting any sort of prosthetics like this. And so she would spend anywhere from 3 to 7 hours of makeup to do the metamorphosis towards the end. They were also doing foam latex too, which Paul says, looking back on, man, I wish we could have had silicone at the time. They had it, but it was just cheaper to do foam latex.
I can imagine.
So he's like, it didn't age in the way that I wanted, but it still looks good. So up to 7 hours before.
Jesus.
And then up to 2 hours at the end of the day to take everything off.
What a nightmare.
I know. Claustrophobia would set in so hard. And so she also had all that fake blood that she was drenched in. It was said to have required borax, which I'm like, that's toxic, and a household detergent to remove. So I'm sure she was miserable by the end of the day.
Disgusting.
And they're shooting at night and in winter and all these things. She also had to wear those contacts at the end. She said she couldn't see, that she had the teeth, she would have a lisp. And she said the most annoying thing about the werewolf makeup was the full facial prosthetic. She said she basically had a permanently runny nose and had to like stick Q-tips up constantly to like keep her, and you know, she's young too. And so she didn't have a great time, but
miserable.
6 weeks, she had to hang in there for like half of it probably with that. And then I didn't know where to put this, but the film's final cut was edited in just 8 weeks. So they really...
Whoa, that's fast.
They had to turn it around really fast.
Oh my God.
And they also said the editor talked... He's a quirky dude, man. He was talking about how they were like 2.5 minutes like over what they had to get it to. And he like left for a weekend, and one of like the assistant editors basically took off 1 second from the top of every frame. And that's how they got it down to what they got it to. He said they had to add it back for some of the action shots because it was important to have that 1 second when they're cutting fast. But I was like, I love just taking... It's like one of my favorite tricks. I'm like, just cut a second off of or just like the beginning of everything.
Just the teensiest little bit. Yeah.
So that's how they kind of got it down. But I was like, damn, 8 weeks to edit everything is crazy. Score and soundtrack. We're not going to talk a lot about this. But I just wanted to nod. Some of my favorite metal bands are actually on the soundtrack, which I was listening to on the way in. So we have Cradle of Filth, Fear Factory, Machine Head. There's also Hatebreed, Killswitch, and Glassjaw. So I just love this fucking soundtrack. It's very of the time, coming off of Warren saying something. Coming off The Crow, it's cool to have another.
It's another
awesome
classic soundtrack movie.
It premiered in 2000, so in August of 2000 at the Munich Fantasy Film Fest. The next month it played at 2000's Toronto International Film Fest, which we talked about on here. It actually got a really good audience reaction.
Oh, good.
And got a lot of word of mouth.
Deserves it.
Yeah, so it was kind of like a standout, and again, unfortunately, did not get a good marketing team behind it because of the teen violence, the slasher that it kind of got slapped with that label. So they had high expectations for it when they released it in Canada, but it kind of bombed. So it was really hard to find stats on this because much like yours, it did really well when it came out on DVD and like VHS. Do you want to take a stab? I kind of have a range. Do you want to take a stab at what it made in the box? I mean, it did not do well at all.
Like 1.5.
Less.
Worse?
Yeah.
Did it even crack 1? 500K?
Yeah, between 425 and 570.
Oh, Jesus.
It's funny because they say that it was like, and again, I didn't put this on there, but they were saying like in that year between a time, it was like the 5th highest growing film. And I'm like, was Canada not doing great at that time?
I don't think Canada was producing a whole lot of
that's what I'm wondering if like in those charts. So again, marketing campaign, as we see, it just did not have the power that it needed, so it bombed because of that. And I said on top of the limited marketing, I think because it's specifically focused on periods. And Hollywood and men hate women, so they also think they cut out half their audience, and so that's probably why it didn't do well as well, because they were doing something that was really impactful and good.
Can't have that.
No, can't have that because it's scary.
Right.
It was also banned from certain cinemas in the UK in 2001 because it was promoting violence amongst teenagers. I mean, again, it got slapped with these things. I don't think it should have. It just was the wrong time.
Yeah. Agreed.
It's not the film's fault. So I couldn't find stats, but it developed a cult following, as we know. It has a lot of UK fans, and Karen kind of talks to it, but I'm just for sake of time, I'm not going to go super into it. But again, just kind of nodding to like the understanding and relation to alienation and being in these like rows of houses. And I also think the obsession with like Canadian and both American like school suburbs, I feel like is a very fascinating concept for the UK to then see about 100%. Us. So critics, though, it has a 6.8 out of 10 on IMDb. It has a 90% from critics on Rotten. So yours is better, but I was very happy to see 90% from critics.
That's
78
good.
From audiences, which is like, boo.
Yeah.
And
better,
again, critics really, really loved it. They loved the female rage. Yes.
Good.
They loved the anxieties of like adolescence and being a teen. And is this where I talk about Jennifer's body? Okay, so this is where I'm going to pull that pin back out from yours.
Yes.
I love this fucking quote. I didn't know where to put it, and so I'll end on the mini film theory rant corner.
Amazing.
But I thought this quote was really good. So when we have these conversations around, people like to hate on Jennifer's body for so many fucking reasons. Right. I think honestly the same reason people want to hate on Heathers, they want to hate on Ginger Snaps. It's because it's doing something really well, honestly, and something different. And so a lot of people gave Jennifer's body hate, I've read online, because they think it's a ripoff of Ginger Snaps, which I get it. They have kind of the same they have the same
in common, but
things, but just like yours, right? Like where was it the writer that was like, I could have had that in my subconscious or not. So I thought writer Karen had a really lovely quote about
Karen
this.
From
the writer
or from
mine.
Okay, yeah. I wasn't sure because I think Karen Kusama is the director of Jennifer's Body, and so it's is it which Karen?
Yeah. So my Karen.
Your
so
Karen.
Ginger
Great.
Snaps.
Thank you.
Sorry
for the confusion
Karen.
for a moment.
No, I forgot.
Yeah.
So I love what she said in reply to this when asked in a retrospective interview. She said, I am in a hard spot because I have not seen the film. I hope she has sense. And do not want to have an opinion about something I have not seen. But I understand that there are similarities. That is all I can say. And because I am a Diablo Cody fan and I need to see it first before I can comment on it, I'm waiting for the day that we can get together and chat about it over some beers.
That's cute.
But if my script inspires something, then that's great. I take that as a compliment. And keep in mind, like any genre, horror evolves in very fast increments during this period that it's popular. So they saw this movie and they liked it. And they may have wanted to go on to make something like that. And well, it's not so different from what we're doing with Ginger Snaps. So they took their references, they took Heather's, they took things. So it's just like, let art have influence.
Yes, absolutely.
I don't think it's that hard to be like, you can do something like something and it doesn't have to be a copy. But I just love the concept. I hope they had a chat over beers.
I do
since
too.
this interview.
I want to picture that happening.
I just think it's really sweet, and especially as writing something that like both those films are so feminist. And having it come from these women writers, I appreciate that there is some love and not this pinned hatred towards each other.
Not just competition.
Yes. And before I get into I'm going to end on the mini film theory rant corner.
Please.
It's not really a film theory rant corner, but there is an amazing breakdown on Blood Letter Magazine, bloodlettermag.com, called Ginger Snaps and the Possession of Womanhood. I'm going to read you off some quotes that I really liked from it, but it's amazing. Please read it.
Sounds way up my alley.
It just kind of breaks down the same thoughts that I'm sure all of us who have watched it have had. But she kind of says, Ginger's body is no longer just a physical shell the soul inhabits. Now it's a weapon. It's a walking temptation that must be hidden. Much like a werewolf. Again, these parallels. She refuses to hide, imbued by the violence and power of the wolf with newfound agency and sexual liberation. Yes. So that's just, again, a tiny quote for more. And then one more thing I want to end on is this person goes on to say, Ginger's environment actively working to keep her submissive and fearful of her body. Meanwhile, Bridget refuses to give in to the pressures of growing up and fights back against oppressive nature of teendom. She strives to create a life that she can be comfortable in, even if that means breaking away from the parasitic relationship with her sister, becoming an independent person, and making the conscious choice to live on her own terms.
Love that.
And I know, so the whole article's amazing. I think in the second one, I want to say, I think Bridget transforms. Because I think I saw her getting prosthetics.
So down.
So I really want to see Ginger Snaps too because of that. I'm curious about the third one.
Yeah.
Karen is not on. I don't think Karen or the director have anything to do with the next two.
Okay.
But I love that the same actors are
That's really cool.
involved in it. So I want to talk more about that. I also want to be conscious of time. This is why we need after shows where we can just like word vomit.
Really
but that article just does it so much better than I could ever say anything. So I'm not going to go into that because I think we could talk for probably 30 more minutes.
We really could.
Yeah. Because these films, I'd seen them both. I didn't realize after hearing you talk today, like how similar
there's
these
so much in common.
Yeah.
It's really like not just in terms of what we see on screen, but in terms of how they got to the screen too.
Yeah, they both kind of butted up against the same issues, but brought in the right people. Really happy to hear there was your producer on yours kind of brought
Denise.
in that.
We love Denise.
Yeah, Denise and Karen, man.
Yes,
snaps for them.
Thank God for Denise and Karen.
Yeah, and thankful that the men working on these movies
gave them the space too. Yeah.
And so, oh boy, this was fun.
What a delight.
I really liked this.
I genuinely feel like I need to go home and watch Ginger Snaps again tonight.
I know. If I wasn't going to see Iceland Kills, I think I would go. I will be watching it this weekend good. For sure. And then we have to plan our Ginger Snaps costume.
I'm so down. Wait, you said it was a wig, right? I want to hear this fact.
Oh yeah.
Give me this tidbit to close with.
When Emily Perkins got cast, I guess she had hair really similar to the hair that she has in the film. So again, she was like perfectly embodied. She got cast. I think she went to do another project, came back, I think close to filming, and she'd shaved it off. And director John was fucking horrified. He's like, I can't put her in there like that.
Yeah.
I have to put her in a wig. So it looks very wiggy.
I, for a second, thought you were saying that Ginger's hair was a wig.
Oh,
and
no,
I was
no,
like,
no.
damn, it looks
No,
really
that
real.
was her hair.
Okay,
Although,
yeah.
wigs back then look
There are good
way
wigs
better.
out there. Yeah.
Yeah, the lace front on that was pretty good.
Yeah.
No, she just has those little extensions. That,
Oh, okay,
that
yeah,
come
that
in,
makes sense.
So.
Yeah, because it was like the greasiness looks like authentic.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, the way her part,
yeah.
like her
Like
cowlick
falls,
is
so
you can't,
real.
Yeah, you can't wig that. So,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, so that was the wig fact. So, yeah.
Amazing.
Not that exciting, but I thought it was kind of funny that, like,
Yeah.
I think that's the second time in one of my films I covered.
Because of The Craft, yeah, which is also
Yeah.
because she shaved her head, yeah.
Yeah, that was
for Empire Records.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Look at that. It all comes back to bald heads.
these were fun.
This was
Oh my god, I don't know where to go from here.
well, I know where we go from here.
Drinks.
Drinks. Before drinks, we go to next episode, which is
Oh my God, it's my birthday
Al's birthday,
episode.
Al's Stravaganza Part 2.
I am very excited.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we have to decide what we're doing on air.
I know we do.
You're doing Pet
I might
Sematary.
not. I don't know.
What? Everybody yell at Al.
Here, Pet Sematary. We're doing. We should just figure it out really quick. Actually, this poll, you guys can't have a say. I'm so sorry, but
watch
Trav
us
and
have
Warren,
a say.
So the two, Siena brought up something I was toying around with. So I was gonna definitely doing Pet Sematary because it was like one of my top, like first episode. It was one of my top 5. We haven't done it. I feel like it's just like it's time.
We have to. We're
it's one of my favorite.
it.
So the battle that I've been facing is, I'm overthinking it. But one, I was gonna do a pairing of Pet Sematary because it kind of got me into this gore, and so I was thinking Saw because that really solidified like my love of gore. But then Siena tossed out, which is so funny because I was thinking, do I want to go nostalgic? So we've talked about Beetlejuice. You look like you want to cover Beetlejuice or like want to watch it. Should we let's just do that? It feels fun.
What do you guys think? Pull the class.
Pet Sematary and Beetlejuice. I feel like both are really good no matter what. So Pet Sematary.
Beetlejuice tattoo. I'm biased.
Yeah,
That's
Trav's
true.
biased.
That's true.
Beetlejuice. What do you think, Warren? What's your
like 2 Winonas in a row?
Right?
2 Winonas?
Like
Okay, that's 2
that was
Beetlejuice.
my thinking. I think coming off of
watch
Heathers,
that.
it feels very in the same way that like there were a lot of tie-ins between The Crow going into Heathers. I feel like going from Heathers to Beetlejuice.
Yeah, let's do
Yeah,
that. It
love.
feels
Winona.
like Winona Forever.
Yes.
I love, and I don't want anyone to think Beetlejuice is like. I mean, I have nothing negative to say about Beetlejuice. Is one of my favorite films of all fucking time.
No, it's just
I want to live
question
in that world.
What feels more like the right pairing?
And I do feel like, and here's my thing too. Although those are like, I have a reason for a Saw. I haven't watched Saw in a while. I watch Beetlejuice all the fucking time.
Yeah.
I can quote that movie. So we're gonna do Pet Sematary and Beetlejuice.
Yes.
Which one do you want to cover? I don't care.
I'm happy with either.
Me too.
I'm truly happy with either.
I don't know which one.
Maybe
that
we
can
keep
decide.
that a surprise.
Yeah, that can be a surprise.
Yeah.
That feels like a good surprise.
That does feel like a good
for
surprise.
listening to our thought process. This is how it goes. So yeah, I actually feel really good about that.
Yeah, great.
We just got the Beetlejuice DVD the other day too, so I feel like that was maybe a sign.
It goes with the most, babe.
Yeah, I'm very excited to talk about it.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if I know so many behind the scenes.
Beetle up some juice, baby.
Beetle up some. Speaking of juice, one more time.
Yeah.
I can't wait to I'm going to be honest, I'm going to get drunk off this shit.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Today.
I'm not
I'm
even a
get
gin
drunk.
person, but like for this, I am.
So you guys, if you're listening, they As Above, So Below, the Elvira autumnal gin. It's so fucking good. Elvira. Yeah, it's Elvira for that episode. Autumn. It should be out. Again, thank you to them.
Yeah.
You guys have listened to our live show. We're doing more live shows.
Yes.
We're doing Morgan Crypts. Come hang out with us on, honestly, our Instagram is where we post the most stuff like that. So, We'll have fun merch designs. We're going to have hats I'm very excited about.
So stoked for the hats.
Very excited for the hats. We're going to have trucker hats and like dad hats too. They're both very different. We're going to have buttons, stuff like that. So
much good
yeah,
stuff.
we just appreciate you all. Again, thanks for everyone who came out to the live show.
Yeah.
It meant a lot
We
to
needed
see
the emotional
you.
support.
Yeah. I feel better going into the next ones.
I
we're
do
going
too.
into.
I feel more confident. Yeah. But
Next is Morgan Crypt. So.
Get your Halloween tickets for the night before Halloween.
Yeah. I'm excited for those.
I think that's it.
I think
Do we
that's
have anything
it too.
else?
I think the only thing is we're dipping our toe into mini-sodes.
We are dipping our toe
to give you guys more content if that's something you want.
Yeah.
Let us know. But we're gonna start doing that. So we'll keep you posted on where those things live and how they live. We might keep them a little special and put them behind just because it takes extra work for us and more time. So we might put those maybe
behind
a little paywall. Very cheap. Very cheap, guys.
A low bar
very cheap,
paywall.
like $3 a month.
Yeah.
With today's fucking subscriptions,
do
we notice $3 anymore? I don't know.
The dollar's been so devalued. It's basically nothing.
Truly. It's just to help us keep doing stuff like this. And I think that's pretty much it.
I think that's it.
I think we deserve to fucking get out in some air conditioning.
Yeah,
you
fantastic.
guys.
You need to go to Ice Nine Kills.
Yeah. I got a concert to go to.
I don't think I told you this, but this weekend I get to go down and listen to the first Dolby mix of my movie, which I'm super stoked.
Oh, it's a good weekend for us.
It's going to be a good weekend.
I hope you guys have a good, whenever you listen to this, hope your weekend's good, hope your week's good.
Yeah.
Hang
and
in
happy
there.
September, y'all. We're officially in spooky season.
Oh my God, I'm so excited.
Yeah. So welcome back
excited.
to our favorite time of year, y'all.
Truly. We're here, guys. We made it.
We're here. We're queer. We're Halloween.
We're drinking mineral water. Get used to it.
Truly.
Until then,
this has been Splice and Splatter. Thank you. What? Help? I'm all thrown off on the intros this time. Great.
It's presented by Highgarden.
Yeah.
We're here.
We're queer. We're used to it.
Let's just be right back, you know?
We'll be right back.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll be right back.